No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the Perfect Play Pursuit. It is I, Lukey CK, joined as always by the Euro Under King, and soon to be here, I would assume, will be Danny the Bet Man. In the we're gonna break down last week's card, UFC Vegas 66. I feel about as bad as my bets performed. I have a splitting headache right now on a Monday. It's not looking good. We got a few weeks of darkness ahead of us. Lights out, shutout, no UFC action at all. We're going to have to get by on scraps, Bellator scraps, PFL scraps, one championship scraps. We're going to have to get by on college football scraps. We're going to have to get by on NFL scraps. Alex, we got a lot to talk about. For the first time, I think all year, I don't know. For the first time in recent memory, I went under 50%. 6 out of 13. We're going to get into each pick. What went wrong? We got plenty of time, guys. It's a break week. We got a lot of time to sift through these ashes. And my comrades here, Alex and Daniel, went 7 out of 13 apiece. At this point, Alex is in the lead, first place in year 3, 207 correct picks out of 323 given, 64% accurate in year 3. I am trailing right behind him by 2 picks, 205 correct out of 323, 63% accurate, and Dan trails me by just 1 pick, 204 out of 323. Triple B certified picks went 2 out of 3, guys, 2 out of 3, 66% accurate. Saturday night, 115 given this year, year 3 out of 158 correct out of 158 given, 73% accurate. Triple B picks lead the way by a 10% gap. Triple B picks are the picks that all 3 of us sync up and agree on. So those were Rafa, García, Amir Albazi, and Julian Erosa. Those were the 3 we gave. Julian Erosa obviously went down hard. We'll get into all this. But Alex, address the people. I've been talking for 3 minutes now. You haven't said a word. So, air your dirty laundry and your clean laundry. What's going on with you? How's your life?
I know I'm wearing a bunch of clean laundry right now, Luke, but my whole life is filled with dirty laundry. This was the worst weekend I've had in quite a few weeks. Oh, wait, no, I went under 50% 1 week recently, didn't I? Luke?
I mean, I don't know, man. Just keep it flowing. Come on, I just talked for 3 minutes. Don't
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll keep it flowing. I'm pretty sure this is one of the worst weeks I've had in weeks.
You went 4 out of 11 during Calvin Cater and Arnold Allen's fight. That was
all right. Yeah. That's the worst performance I've ever had.
You wanted to bring it up. I don't know why.
I know. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, 7 out of 13. Not my best performance. Over 50% though. I've been winning new money for weeks. I had to lose one of these, and it all came down to Julian Erosa for me. Once that fight lost, all of my parlays dead in the ground. Actually, I think it was actually before that. Brian Battle fucked me too. David Dobrik fucked me. But Julian Erosa, above all else, did me dirty. And I had a terrible night. I had a very rough night gambling. Lost every bet I put in. Couldn't even break even on Sean Strickland. Terrible night. Terrible night for me. Luke?
Yeah, and well, I'm just looking back in the history, and this was the worst that I've done since Brian Ortega fought Yair Rodriguez.
Wow.
Where I went 4 out of 11, I think. So for me, actually, I went 4 out of 12. Way back when Brian Ortega fought Yair Rodriguez, and you have had a few. I think this is your third or fourth card with under 50%, but I wasn't
under 50% this time.
I've truly only had, this is the second time in year 3 I've gone under 50%. So you were not this week, yes, but I was this is only the second time. And you know, a lot of people might say that I got robbed with Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier. It was a close fight. I'm more of, you know, it is what it is. We'll get into it all. First fight of the night, Journey Newson. I picked against Sergey Morozov, and Sergey got it done. You guys both sided on Morozov. The story for me overall was when I was on an island by myself, I died. I was on an island by myself with Newson. I was on an island by myself with Brundage. I was on an island by myself with Green. I was on an island by myself with Sarukian. Sarukian was the one, and Fakhretdinov. Okay, so actually that's not really the story. That's not really the story then. But we all had some good island shots. What amazes me is that
we were a few island boys.
Out of 13 fights, there was only one pick that we all got wrong, which was Julian Erosa. Other than that, there was at least one of us on every single winning outcome.
But Luke, that's how it works. We can only all get triple P certified picks wrong. If it goes any other way, one of us is getting it right.
Yeah, but you know, it's very true, I guess. But I'm just saying that like there are still some nights where you get more than one triple P certified pick wrong. Yeah. In this card, we only had 3 triple P certified picks, and in the 10 that were not triple P certified, there was a lot of diversity of opinion. First one, second one, we sided with David Dvorak. Manel Cape was able to beat him in what was kind of a snoozer, fight. What did you think about the first 2 fights of the night? I mean, I went down, got the first 2 fights of the night wrong. Manel Cape, of all the underdogs I chose, David Dvorak was the one I was least confident in, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he'd be able to get Manel Cape down. I wasn't really that confident that Manel Cape would be able to keep it standing, stay so explosive the entire fight. We've seen him kind of gas out in the past. I thought David Dobrik would take him into those deep waters, but those deep waters never came. It stayed pretty shallow the whole time, and Manel Cape kind of pieced him up.
Fakhretdinov, I called that. I knew that was going to happen. Brian Battle not only taking the fight on short notice, but a fighter who, as we know, Alex, will accept bottom position against, a guy in Fakhretdinov who will happily oblige to keep him there for all 3 rounds. He had 14 minutes of control time, I think maybe even more. Hanat Fakhretdinov, somebody to keep your eye on in this division. He said he's here to clean out all the gatekeepers. I don't think of Brian Battle as a gatekeeper, but I do think of him as a well-rounded guy who will test any up-and-coming fighter, but will not necessarily shine against the specialist, because as long as the guy is a specialist, I think he kind of loses the battle, so to speak, in those areas where he has to face somebody who's truly elite, because he's not truly elite anywhere, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say the book has been written on Brian Battle yet. He's new into the UFC. This is the beginning of his UFC career. Very spooky that your lights went off.
I did the thing with the chair again.
This is the ghost episode.
It's okay.
But I don't think the book's been written on Brian Battle. This is only his 2nd or 3rd UFC fight. We saw him on The Ultimate Fighter. I think he still has a bunch of growth to be had. I mean, think about it. If he goes to, maybe one of these super gyms, like an American Top Team or an Elevation Fight Team. Right now, he's still in Carolina Combat. You gotta get with Joe Selecki or get out of the Carolinas if you want to be a good fighter.
Well, listen, I mean, we have Brian Battle gets the shit kicked out of him in that fight, right? He gets dropped on the feet in the 3rd round. He gets rocked bad in that fight. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I think I said it best. He just will continue to put up wins in the UFC. He's a work, horse in there. But I want to get into Rafa Garcia versus Maheshate, because this is a fight that I picked Rafa Garcia confidently. We triple P certified him, but then as the fight drew near and I saw the matchup with the way that they stacked up size wise, I was really like, oh wow, like Rafa Garcia could lose this in a couple different ways. And Maheshate in the 1st round had some great takedown defense. In the 2nd round, landed a nice elbow, but still in these rounds, these young fighters out of Asia, they find a way to still like make it a blood and guts war when you could have probably called it a 10-8 round in round 2 if you didn't allow Rafa Garcia to come back so much, with that elbow and the blood. He could have made it really look like a 10-8 round, but ends up possibly losing that round in a lot of people's eyes, loses the decision, loses the position, takes damage himself, gets cut himself. Maheshate is just, not a smart fighter. We knew this. He has no ring IQ. I think if you feed him a fighter like Nifty Steve, you end up with seeing him get a win because Nifty Steve is just more brittle than a guy like Rafa Garcia. But a guy like Rafa Garcia who's hearty, who has a lot of.
Who is Nifty Steve?
Steve, the guy that they sent into China to lose to him. Steve. I don't know, man. I really don't know his name. I just call him Nifty Steve. I've been calling him that so much I can look it up.
Oh, Steve Garcia. Steve
Garcia. Yeah.
It should have been right there. It should have been right there on the tip of the tongue.
Exactly. So, what do you have to say about that fight, Alex? I mean, it kind of just pisses me off when I see potential, when I see domination even in a fight, and then they find a way to lose. And at this point, I tried to be certified Garcia, but in one parlay that I had active, I did hedge a little bit and put as an underdog Maheshate. And, in hindsight, it wouldn't have fucking probably come close to winning either way. Let's see. Who else was in it? I'm going to check it right now. But go ahead. Talk about this fight for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute bloodbath. But one thing I'll take umbrage with that you said was the thing about the cuts. And, I even heard the commentary team say it on the broadcast. They were like, this person needs a huge punch, a huge knockdown, or to, cut this person open to really favor the eyes of the judges. Blood has never really been something that I think should be scored. I know that it can get in the judges' heads, but once we start talking about that on the broadcast and saying like, this guy's a bloody mess, he needs to be taken care of, there's been plenty of guys who have stuck out fights. And I mean, if they're not bleeding, it's not a Diaz fight. Diaz has never came in and out of a fight without a little cut here or there. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily like this whole narrative where cuts are considered damage, because most of the time to cut your opponent, it's the most glancing of blows that aren't necessarily the most significant, and you're just getting caught with the leather on the glove or the end of an elbow. The elbows are more important, I agree, but when you're just getting caught with the edge of the UFC glove where the seam hits and it just rubs across your eye the wrong way and then you're bleeding, I don't think that should necessarily be scored against a fighter.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that I agree with the statement that is like what is happening all of the time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I'm sure that does happen, glancing blows, but I think more often than not, if you're wearing damage, it's a sign that you're being touched. And you go with the guy who is being touched, tagged, points are being scored on him, and it's visible, it's right there, it's obvious for everybody. Plus, when you're cut, your body's forced to send energy towards the wound to heal it, which distracts from other resources that your body's trying to use for the fight. It also, just the fact that blood is leaving your body means you have less blood in your body, which means your heart is pumping extra hard to replace it, but also to produce white blood cells, because the white blood cells in your blood, which are sending oxygen back to the heart and lungs.
Did you even read the Chuck Liddell autobiography that we had as boys? You can lose 4 gallons of blood before it even means anything.
Means it? What do you mean means anything? I mean, all those things I said remain true.
I don't know, man. I disagree entirely. I think strictly the cuts happen from glancing blows, unless it's from an elbow. Elbows are really the only thing that you can. It's
friction. Luke, when a punch lands,
friction
slides the skin.
Friction from the gloves, man. Friction from the gloves specifically.
Friction's from contact with the foreign object pressing in.
No, it's blunt force trauma, Luke. Blunt force doesn't open up cuts, my man.
Well, I'll tell you who had a lot of damage, and it's Drew Dober. We'll get into that fight in a little bit because we got to go in order here. But after Garcia was able to cut Maheshate back, I know what you mean by that. He was able to take him down and land more takedowns, more attempts, yes, more takedowns, more control time. That's what won him the decision, I think, overall. And it really kind of shows that the style they're trying to tell these young kids that they can use in the UFC, which is just like an Israel Adesanya, kind of be really good at striking and then just have good hips and get your back to the fence and elevate and get underhooks and turn them back, pivot the other way and get away from them, create space, land offense, keep distance. The whole new school way of thinking that guys like Izzy, guys like McGregor, guys like these striking kind of oriented fighters utilize, Pereira. There's a big kind of push for that, I think. And as a result, you're not seeing as much attention paid into logging in the time on the ground and being able to create the scrambles necessary, right? So, you see a guy who fought later in the night. A guy who was going for submissions a lot in the fight, and that was kind of creating openings and Rakhmonov and Nurmagomedov. Those guys, right? A lot of dynamic scrambling, and the threat of the submission was what allowed transitions to take place in some of these, some of these transitions. So it's like the punches, the groundwork, the sophisticated jiu-jitsu is gonna, I think, make a resurgence in MMA, because at the end of the day, like, you got to be able to create scrambles, create space to get off your back. If you're in there with a guy like Fakhretdinov, with a guy like Rakhmonov, with a guy like Brundage, they're going to be able to hold your ass down. If you're a guy like Maheshate and you're in there with García, he's going to be able to get him down, hold him down, because Maheshate doesn't have dynamic moves off of his back or a sophisticated ground game. He's a part of this new school of like strikers where it's like like Sean O'Malley, like Paddy the Baddy, where it's like be tall, have a physical reach advantage, have a strength advantage, and then just don't get taken down because you're so much bigger than these guys, and you can just lean on them, wear on them, and it's too much effort to do so they're not going to do it, and then you can just bully them from range. That's like this thought process that's having a lot of success, and I'm happy to see it go the other direction. Moving on.
And I said
Ismagulov and Sarukian too. Another great example. Ismagulov did not have a sophisticated approach to combating that control time that Sarukian was able to put up because of his expertise level grappling. Ismagulov has expertise level striking, not expertise level grappling, and instead of developing an expert level grapple game, he ends up in a position where he just kind of knows how to stall out, but not win minutes.
Yeah, I think that's something they need to add to MMA that they have in wrestling is the stalling. Guys shouldn't be allowed to stall. We need constant action. I don't want any stalling.
Well, make up my mind, because at the end of the day, I want to see MMA take place. I don't want to see boxing. I don't want to see kickboxing. I don't want to see the ref coming in all the time. I hate when the ref comes in. I would rather see a boring 15-minute fight where a guy gets head position and, like kind of like Cheyenne Velismus versus Corey McKenna. I'd rather see that play out, because at the end of the day, it's like not the ref's job to give Cheyenne Velismus a shot there. You know what I mean? She's got to be able to create those opportunities. There's enough advantages for the striker. They start on the feet, don't they? They start separated, don't they? They start each round separated. They stop them at the end of each round. She only has, at the end of the day, you only have like 4 minutes, 30 seconds at best to work a ground game. So you're working in these short sprints, short spurts. If you have to do that for the whole round, the next round you come out, you're standing. Now you have the advantage. There's so many advantages given to strikers. I don't need to see any more. I don't need to see them.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you can be active on the feet.
And neither of them are doing anything. I'm fine with it. But
I'm saying you can be active in grappling. Like I just don't want to see guys holding people up against the fence. And to your point, there should be no rounds. There should be no rounds. There should be no time limit. It should be a bigger surface. It should be a lot of things. But that's not what it is. And it's getting taken to a point where people are scoring points and not winning fights, and not fighting and winning fights just by scoring points. And it's the Izzy Adesanya. It's just like Izzy Adesanya. He's not necessarily doing anything of damage. Like when he fought the guy who fought, the Killer Gorilla, Jared Cannonier, when he fought him, did he really do too much? Jared Cannonier was pushing the pace the whole time. He was trying to fight him. Izzy was just point scoring. Pop, 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 run away. You can't do that with Alex Pereira, though.
Dude, I think that in a lot of ways, the problem, I think that you're never going to see the death of rounds because they need an opportunity to fit in a commercial break. So that'll never happen. How about we just mute the commentators for a minute during each fight and let the commercials play? You know what I mean? Like, but let just be 15 straight minutes, because
you make Bruce Buffer sit there and fucking churn out ads.
Have the commentators read it.
Have the commentators read it. I could give two shits what Paul Felder has to say about any fight ever. If you just had him reading Burger King ads in the background, I'd be fine with it, especially if he's singing Whopper, Whopper, Crispy Whopper, BK Whopper, BK Whopper.
Yeah, that was my jam. I love that one.
Great jam. Great freaking jam.
Yeah, Paul Felder, I think the thing that annoys me about him is that you can take one look at him and tell that he's an absolute psycho with a temper who loses his cool in traffic probably, but yet he comes in here with the suit on at the desk and wants to act like he's fucking Leave It to Beaver. And it's like, it's just like his jokes are always this like, fucking Leave It to Beaver, Eddie Haskell kind of like, oh, geez.
He's a husband from a fucking sitcom who has to act dumb around the women.
He's like, gee, Mr. I don't know. It's just always this kind of like, it's like, dude, you're from Philly. You fight like a crazy person, and he's a ginger, so you know he's got a hot temper. We all have that ginger.
Irish ginger, Luke.
Like, you know, he's pretty much like a lot of guys that we know that probably is just, he's not the guy. He's always like, he just, I don't know. You know how it is. I don't want to say anybody's name. I'm avoiding calling out specific friends that I have that, you know, they always act like they're nice and even keeled, but then end up freaking out over the littlest thing. It bottles up, it builds, you know. And you're the one saying disparaging things about the Irish. They're gonna come get you. I'm not saying anything bad about the Irish. I got my green on, my Eagles green, my Irish green. And as far as I'm concerned,
I'm talking about Irish Americans.
The Irish people do not. The Irish people are great people, and you have no problem from me, Irish people.
I'm talking about
no problem, mate. Yeah, no fucking problem.
Irish Americans specifically, Luke.
I don't know that makes it any better, Alex.
I think it does. I think it does.
I don't think it does.
Because I'm an Irish American. I'm allowed to say that.
Anyway, moving on. Dan will be happy he's not in this episode, I'll tell you that much. Moving on.
That's fucking illegal.
And for the record, Danny Boy is not coming. We got the update.
Dan is not coming today. But good news, bad news. Alex and I are going to break down the next UFC card, top to bottom, give you our entire thoughts, early thoughts, 3 weeks early. We're going to give them to you for free. Normally, we would divide the card. We would do the main card on the YouTube channel. We would do the Patreon episode would feature the prelims picks. So if you want to get the prelims picks, go to the Patreon. We're doing a discount for 1 year up until Christmas, and we'll mail you a special Christmas present from the Perfect Play Pursuit. So just DM me your address, sign up for the full year. We're doing a discount, and that's how you get our open bet sheets. That's how you get the Patreon episode where we break down the entire Patreon prelims part of the card. So just go there and help us out, guys, because we obviously need money. Didn't do so hot gambling last week. 6 out of 13 for me, going under 50% for just the second time in year 3. Not gone under 50% since Yair Rodriguez.
Luke, you should have told me we were going to be panhandling. I wouldn't have worn my suit to this episode. You know, it's hard to. It's hard to be like, yo, we need.
You're wearing a suit because you're interviewing for jobs. Why are you interviewing for jobs? You don't have a job. So I mean, you kind of are panhandling in a lot of ways. But moving on, Sayed Yakub, Alex, you called this one. Nurmagomedov.
I said your Cubs weren't good enough for me. I was on an island by myself on this one. Said Nurmagomedov. It looked glim. It looked bad. It looked glum. Dude, it was looking terrible. But all of a sudden, that guillotine came in, and I knew it was locked in. I knew it was locked in for sure. I thought the first one was locked in, but I said you Cubs weren't good enough for my family. You saw Habib already beat one up. Said can beat one up too. Said got in there, got the dub. I was happy to get this win. I think I had him in a few parlays.
Bro, I was so disappointed. Rakhmonov looked amazing. I'm so sick of these Dagestanis. I'm sick of Sayed Nurmagomedov making the name Nurmagomedov look so bad by just being so easy to take down and control. You know, you're a casual. You're watching that fight. You see Nurmagomedov, and he's on his back getting absolutely wrestle fucked. It's not a good look. So I didn't like that. And then he pulls off a fucking guillotine, dude. That was cheap shit. I really didn't like it. He's talking all kinds of shit afterwards. Man, I'm not a big fan of Sandy Cub Nurmagomedov. I didn't like the fight, how he performed, you know. And I don't like how they look up at the ref like, save me, you know, like oh come on, he's not even doing anything. Like, he is. He's doing a lot.
Yeah, he was trying to pull the Mike Jackson versus Jake Shields in the UFC PI. He was like, "Oh, y'all motherfuckers standing around here, nobody's gonna get him off of me. Help! Help! Help!"
That was crazy. Talk about that. I mean, this is another thing we would normally talk about on the Patreon, guys. So subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/PerfectPlayPursuit. Get in there, subscribe, help us out here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I canned the joke that I had planned for this one, but
well, let me say this real quick before you jump in. I don't have Twitter. We have a Triple P certified Twitter that I was going to try to build up. I don't really have any interest in building it up. I hate Twitter. It's not a good place to like let your mind, you know.
Even when Musk bought it, you don't think? You
miss a lot, I guess. What I'm saying is you miss a lot, I guess, when you don't have a Twitter, because I didn't know Jake Shields was this. He's a Nazi on Twitter. People are saying he's like saying Nazi stuff, And then he's saying
That's
he's
what Mike
not a
Jackson
Nazi.
says, and he's
But then
the truth, Luke. He only tells the truth.
All I know is I did not see it.
I didn't see Mike
Alex,
Jackson.
wait. The
Huh?
joke. I made a joke.
Oh, you did not see it. Okay. I do like that. That is
But my point is, I didn't see his tweets, so I don't know what people are saying. And that was apparently the origin of this whole thing, was that Mike Jackson was calling him a Nazi on Twitter, and then he was like, "Well, I'll show you what happens." And it's just this whole like thing. It's like I thought it was supposed to be. So it's like if the whole thing is sticks and stones break my bones, you should be able to get called a Nazi. Then, and I would assume that Jake Shields is on the side of free speech if he's being called a Nazi, because that's the usual modus operandi for calling somebody, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
no,
usually
yeah,
the
for sure.
precursor.
So-
Usually a precursor for getting called a Nazi in this country is you have some sort of
So Jake Shields should have allowed him that right to call him a Nazi.
in theory, right? I mean,
Dear, yes.
shouldn't he have more of a sticks and stones kind of attitude toward this whole Nazi thing?
I agree. And it's not very good for his image. I will say that. But I mean, dude, Mike the Truth Jackson said he's gonna press charges, and Jake Shields posted the video to his own Twitter. So let's just say he's not the smoothest criminal.
Yeah, but to me, it's like, okay, so I'm gonna Lukey legal this for you, okay? So let me do I'm the lawyer, right? If I'm the lawyer, if I'm Jake Shields' lawyer, I'm saying, Mr. Jackson, you're Mr. Jackson. I say, Mr. Jackson, did you sign a waiver?
Sorry, Mr. Jackson.
I go, Mr. Jackson, did you sign a waiver upon entering the Peer Performance Institute? And he'd be like, well, which you would say yes, right?
Yes.
And I'd say, and this waiver, it said that, while in the Performance Institute, things might happen and you can't sue. And he'd be like,
I'd say, do you even understand the words coming out of my mouth?
well, he's Mike
Chris
Jackson.
Tucker.
He's not,
Come on, that was a good Chris Tucker impression.
yeah, he's not Chris Tucker, dude.
But
anyway,
I, as Mike Jackson, would do a Chris Tucker impression right then and there.
Well,
I'd be like, he assaulted me. He assaulted me.
I think that
I was begging for help. I was screaming. I was screaming in the UFC PI while 6 people stood over me and watched.
And then you were helped. Were you not helped at that point? Were you not helped?
I was helped after he postured up and started striking me in the head.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would think that with that video, I would be able to get something out of Jake Shields, just in terms of if I'm because now, right? So I just questioned Mike Jackson, and he just said that he did sign the waiver. So at that point, it's looking bad for him, right? But then I go back to Jake, and I go, did he? If I'm Jake's lawyer, I say to him, I go, Jake, Mr. Shields, I go,
All right, am I Mr. Shields now?
yeah, I go,
Yeah.
Mr. Shields, before this video started, how did you end up on top of him?
Well, Luke,
was-
there's cameras in the UFC PI.
What? There's
There
cameras.
has to be cameras in the
There's gotta be
inside.
cameras, right? Yeah,
There
because
has to be cameras.
Okay, so
So
now
I'm not
I'm
gonna
gonna-
perjure myself. I'm not gonna perjure myself. Well, how I ended up on top of him was, sir,
I would wait.
he called
Was he
me a
threatening
Nazi.
you? Was he
called me-
threatening you?
Yes, he said
Yes.
I was a Nazi.
Okay, so
He
that's
said I
my
was
thing.
a Nazi.
I'd be like, he was getting too close. He threatened me. Now we're in Masvidal Edwards territory where it's like, who drew first? Was it justified? We're gonna have to go to the tape. The tape's gonna be grainy. I'd be like, no, you guys weren't seeing what he was doing with his eyes. He was snarling at me. He was going. I could tell he was about to bite.
Yeah, dude. All
what I mean?
Leon Edwards winning the UFC championship did was make Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal just be like, yeah, he's a bitch. I'm the champion. I beat him up. We both beat him up. What are you talking about? We're both the champion.
Yeah. Well, I actually just found out that apparently, like DJ Demetrius Johnson, I saw this video about him talking about his pay-per-view points and how he never even got any except for one fight, the final fight with Cejudo or something like that.
Well, because he was never like a PPV headliner, was he?
Well, my thing is, I thought this whole time that if you had a belt, no matter what, they had to give it to you.
They played a lot of his fights on like Fuel TV at that time.
I see what you're saying. Maybe he wasn't in on it wasn't a pay-per-view at all. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like a lot of his fights ended up being like Fuel TV.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
like what was the other one? Spike TV. Spike TV presents Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, look, let's just.
You know what
move
he's
on.
got to do? He's got to get into that micro wrestling shit. He'd really make it. He'd make a killing in there.
You gonna say that to his face?
Him and Henry Cejudo both. I saw Hasbulla lay a couple of clean strikes on Henry Cejudo, and he was giving Henry Cejudo what for. He couldn't punt him as easy as Conor McGregor said he could.
I saw a guy with no legs win a fight this week.
Holy moly, dude! How have we not talked about that yet? What was it, Gordon Ryan?
Dude, well, the thing about Gordon Ryan, and let's talk about that. I mean, to me, if I told you, I said, yeah, here's how the fight went. Gordon Ryan tapped at one point, and also he got his leg broken at one point. Like
he tapped after the whistle because he was pointing at the clock, and the rest.
What's the official decision? Was it a draw?
No, Gordon won.
Dude, he lost
on escape time.
He lost that fight. Nicky Rodriguez won that fight, in my opinion.
It went to overtime to escape time. Gordon tapped because he pointed at the clock, and he was telling the ref, he was like, the clock's at 0. He was pointing at the clock. The clock had been at 0 for like 2 seconds. And Nicky Rod allegedly
never thought I'd see the day.
Nicky Rod, friends with the Liver King, that's all I'm gonna say, was choking the life out of this guy. Like while the bell was already off. And Eddie Brother's friend who works for the commentary team was just sitting there like,
bro, he
didn't even stop the fight.
I watched the post-fight interview with Gordon Ryan. All I heard was that he was accusing his friend of greasing, and I heard him say that, you know, that this guy was. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, greasing. That's the big problem in competitive jiu-jitsu.
Didn't Danaher give you that play right away after, you know, GSP? Like GSP.
It's like greasing's the huge problem. That's right. It's greasing. It's not, you know, anything else. It's not. It's not that you guys have
you look into it.
It's not that every jiu-jitsu athlete has traps up to their eyeballs.
He's injected his asshole.
How do those guys have traps up to their eyeballs?
Injected in his asshole.
I think that's how they got them, for sure. But
I don't know. But
and I think when I come back as a heavyweight, I'll try to do more legally controversial shit.
And that's my philosophy. Luke, you've been saying you're adding new drops.
We're gonna get new ones over the break. We're gonna get new ones over the break. Okay. Moving on. Let's just talk about it, man. Semmelsberger.
Wait, what about the Legless? What about Legless winning?
So, dude, I was saying that was very inspiring, but at the end of the day, if it was Pride rules, he'd be in the fucking nosebleed section if he gets in there with me, dude. I'm telling you.
So was he technically a grounded opponent the whole time, so the guy couldn't kick him?
I don't know the intricacies, but I'm saying if it was Pride rules, he's going through the uprights. If it's Pride rules, he's going up and he's coming down with one of the retired jersey banners on him. If I'm in there with him, all right. I don't want to hear shit about that. But he is 1-0 now, so better man than I. Shout out and congratulations. It was a good fight. You know, we only roast the ones we love, right? I mean. Okay.
Dude, when before you told me the agenda for today's show, I wasn't exactly sure. I was like, hey, there's not a fight card in like 3 weeks. Like, what are we gonna do here? I was going to just have like the roast of Anthony Smith and just have like 12 Anthony Smith jokes, roast him right off of the top, because I didn't know what we were doing this show. I was gonna have the writers in the back room crafting these Anthony Smith jokes, but alas, we are here and we are breaking down all the fights, and we are going over the fights from last week still.
Well, listen, we're going to get into it quickly. It's going to be the quick takes. It's going to be really quick takes. But I just want to talk about Matthew Semmelsberger because that's a pick that you and I died on the cross with. Dan decided to go the other way and take Matthews. Semmelsberger dropped Matthews in every single round. If Matthews wasn't an island boy from New Zealand or Australia, wherever the hell he's from, he would not have been able to take those shots. He's got a chin of gold. He's got a chin of granite. He's got a head of coconut that has not really been cracked. And he's a good, strong opponent for Semi the Jedi, who is Frederick Maryland strong. Maryland in the building. Hybrid athlete. You love to see it. He's the Dominic Reyes of the division. He's coming in there. New wave, next level. Blood, guts, grit, and glory. Matt Semmelsberger is a guy I love to ride with. We've picked him multiple times knowing about him. We've been knowing about him. And I love picking him as an underdog. He's been a dog. Very familiar territory. So he goes in there, crushes Matthews. Love to see it.
And I said it before the fight. I said the last time a Jedi walked into a room full of Celtic children, he slaughtered them all. Shout out to Anakin. He murdered those paladins. Or not paladins, Padawans. Oh my gosh, dude. World of Warcraft on the brain yet again. But yeah, then we had Poppins. Luke, were you on Poppins' side on that one?
I was on Poppins. I was on an island by myself. This is the so I picked McKenna, and I just knew this was going to happen because I knew that we had seen the worst of her in that fight with Reed, and that a guy like Uriah Faber was going to crack the whip. A camp like Alpha Male was going to crack the whip. She's from her dad fights. You know, she's from Wales. She's not an American little princess. She's over here. I said, we're going to send her back to Wales. Remember I said that? I said, I want her working at Whataburger. I want her working at In-N-Out Burger. I want her fingers to smell like hamburger grease when she gets home at night. And when you go in and roll with her at Alpha Male, I want you to say, oh, were you cooking? And her like, it's from work. I got a part-time job at In-N-Out Burger. You know, and I do love their monster fries, and I love the animal. What is it? Animal fries.
Animal style. Animal style.
I love the animal style. I loved it. And Uriah, coach, he told me stupid. He told me to call him Mr. Faber now. Mr. Faber. He made me get he requested that I get a part-time job at the In-N-Out Burger. So that's where I've been working. He said it was that or go back to Wales. So I love that. I was right? I mean, I love that I was right. I love that Uriah Faber still has it. He's churning him out over there. He's the new Jackson Wink over there. He's killing it. And he got in her ass. He got in her ear. She won that fight in the way that we wanted her to win the Elise Reed fight, man. Using her wrestling, stalling it out. I loved every second of it. It was great. I know you didn't like it. I know you took Bellismus, but I knew this was going to happen.
Well, let's
in a row. I just want to say this: 2 dogs in a row. I predicted there was only 4 dogs that won the entire night. Those were the first 2, and I called both of them. I bet both of them. I had both of them in my open bets. At this point, let's move on.
Well, let's call a spade here, Luke. I mean, if Cheyenne Velismus was named Patty the Batty, she won that fight.
No.
Yes, it was the same exact fight. Yeah. To a T.
2 of the rounds, only one of the rounds did Jared Gordon push Patty up against the fence, and 2 of the rounds, Poppins did that. Poppins also was hitting her.
I thought we were scoring on damage. Cheyenne was cracking.
No, dude, I don't think so. McKenna also was landing some damage in this striking, too. It was kind of like an all things equal thing, whereas I think Jared was winning the striking, and Patty was just making it look like he was winning, you know? Sometimes if you're just better looking, if you're just better to look at and you're moving longer and you're covered more space, it's like you look like you're winning. St. John Jones gets away with it a lot too, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on. We got Brundage, a dog that I called and was looking really good in the beginning and stanza of that fight. He just kind of looked like he fell asleep in there. Like he did fall asleep in there, he got put to sleep, but it looked like he fell asleep before getting put to sleep. Like he got lured down, made it look easy, was on his back, was even grinning and smiling, seemed to be controlling him with relative ease, and then ends up getting out-positioned, outmaneuvered in one little exchange, one little sequence, and then hit with a couple good shots. Didn't like the first one and got fed a few more. Went out. What do you think?
Yeah, I was on Lord heavy here. I loved Lord in this fight. I was a little concerned when Brundage was on his back, but nothing felt better than Lord wiping that smirk off his face. Is it just me, or does Lord look like more of a man now? Like before, back in the day, he looked a little weaselly, a little rat-like, but now he grew that beard out. Dude, beards do wonder for men. People always complain about women putting on makeup, but a beard can do all the same. I have no chin under this thing. I'm ugly as hell if I shave this.
No, that's not true at all. And, Lord, 27 years old, so obviously still coming in and developing his frame. But I think that he was kind of a pandemic guy who maybe was taking some of these fights at a weight class that wasn't naturally his. Like, for example, his last fight again was at middleweight. So, he was able to kind of, I think, carry that, weight on him. But let's take a look at some of his other fights here.
Dustin Jacoby.
Ovin St. Preux was probably at 205.
Dustin Jacoby was at 205 too.
And Jimmy Crute too. The Modestus Bukauskas fight was he's
if you look at his record, every fight he's lost has been higher than middleweight. Every fight he's fought at middleweight, he's won. Even the one fight that he lost that wasn't at light heavyweight was a catchweight bout, 198. So only 7 pounds away from the light heavyweight margin there. He looks like he's a very well feathered, middleweight, and I think he can make some waves out here, dude. He's beat up a bunch of good guys. Sam Alvey, Shamil. Sorry, I couldn't say Sam Alvey with a straight face, but I mean, he's been here for a while. Yeah, he has
in the UFC.
He has the no contest against Khalil Roundtree. I believe that he won that fight, and it got tested for steroids or something of that nature.
Well, I'm looking right now. It says that, decision for Ola Jayshuk, but a no contest following a positive drug test. Good things to come from Lord. I didn't like Lord, but I will bet on Brundage too going forward. I'm going to bet on both these guys moving forward. Two young guys. Mark Montoya is going to get in Brundage's ass, get in his ear. This is going to be the best thing that ever happened to him. He's going to come back as an underdog. He's been an underdog in every single one of his UFC fights, and I think this is the first one that he came up short in. So, looking forward to seeing him
lost to Maximov in his debut, so he's 2-2.
He's going to slide down the rankings at 2-2 in the UFC now. He's going to slide down the rankings. He's going to get a lesser opponent than a guy like Lord. He's going to starch him as an underdog, and then we're going to see some real value, I think, in Brundage moving forward. So I like it. And then I lost again in a fight that was looking good at the start and turned the tables on me. Bobby Green, let me just say this, Alex. Bobby fucking Green was dominating that. I was literally in my head saying this is one of the best, exhibitions I've ever seen. This is one of the best, putting on a clinic, dude. I was like, Bobby Green is putting on a clinic. He reposted me on his story when I shouted him out, and his pre-fight shit was so inspiring, man. Him saying you thought I was fucking, you thought I was cut. He's like, surprise, it was amazing. So putting on a fucking clinic against Drew Dober. To me, the only reason Drew Dober won that fight is because he was willing to eat 100 shots to his head, and he was willing to throw 100 shots at air, and finally get in the right position to land one. After not being a self-preservationist, right? So I don't like that outcome because to me it's like the lesser fighter won, the stiffer, stupider guy who took more damage won, and it's like, on a long enough timeline, if he's willing to get bludgeoned that much, then of course he's going to be able to land a shot eventually. And if he's willing to throw that many and miss that many times, it just seems random, chaotic. It's fun. It's fun when you're on the side of Drew Dober, I guess. Drew Dober seems to think that that's what the crowd wants to see. I mean, I would have liked to see him get knocked the fuck out in the first round by Bobby Green. That's what I would have liked to see. So I would have also liked to see him get knocked the fuck out against Terrence McKinney. I think Bobby Green and Terrence McKinney are both better than Drew Dober, stylistically. Drew's biggest areas he can't. And I loved seeing Drew smiling at Bobby, and then Bobby would crack him, and that smile would fucking wipe away for a second. I don't like the low ring IQ style of eating 1,000 shots and having no head movement, being super stiff, being all physique, being so good looking that I want to kiss you. I'm sure my girlfriend wants to kiss him. Drew Dober, abs you could bounce a dime on, a chin that you just want to snuggle against. It's like a haircut that you want to be like, who's your barber? A $1,000 smile, $1 million pair of eyes. Drew Dober's the whole total package. A sweetheart and a man's man. So I do love you, Drew, but God damn it, did you spoil everything for me, kind of in a little bit of a way when you beat Bobby Green. So
he didn't spoil as much for me in the next fight. The next fight spoiled all for me. But I will say this, I was very worried going into that second round, but you got to love a guy like Drew Dober, takes a couple to give the power bomb, who is it? Batista? What's the guy? Wrestling guy?
A lot of guys do the power bomb. Kevin Nash comes to mind.
Oh, dude, the Batista bomb. Who's Batista? He plays like
David Batista.
Something Batista. What's his first name? David Batista. Yeah, he's Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like The Rock, but not The Rock.
And I got a bone to pick with Chris Pratt too. He criticized Israel Adesanya, and fuck him for that. That's first of all. I don't care if you apologize. I'm so mad. Second of all, he's now the Super Mario. He's Mario. You're Mario now, Chris. Let me see where your family came from in Italy, Chris. Is it Sicily, or were they from maybe northern Italy? Where did your family come from in Italy? Because I'm sick of Italians getting wiped out of history.
You don't even know where our family came from in Italy.
I do know where they came from, Alex.
Where?
I'm not gonna fucking dox anybody, and that's a true Italian move right there. Is you don't talk about where your fucking family's from. and you keep your mouth shut. You keep your fucking
Give me
mouth
up,
shut.
babe.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Yeah, you never talk about family business.
That was good. That was really
Thanks.
good.
Thank you. I gotta get back
Marlon
into the
Brando? Who's that? Marlon Brando?
either one. Anybody. Anybody you want. I'm just a wop myself coming out here in the world, just trying to make people laugh with Italian accents.
If you watch this podcast, I want you to go to Charlie Day and Chris Pratt's Instagram page. I want you to unfollow them right now. I want you to unfollow them right now if you follow them, because I don't like Italian Americans getting wiped out of history. You know, I already went to work.
They might be Italian Americans.
I already went to work, and it said Columbus Day, and they said it was Indigenous Peoples Day. It didn't say on my calendar Columbus Day at all. It said Indigenous Peoples Day. If you're gonna have both. That's fine. But they're whitewashing it. They're taking away the Italian American.
And that guy in The Sopranos, who did just when they pulled me out, they put me back in.
Said the same thing.
He said the same thing. He went and protested against people who protested against Christopher Columbus. He said that's the last thing we fucking got.
They've been trying to do it for a while, and the indigenous people, you deserve your own day. I would support you getting your own day. And the reality is that they are using you as a battering ram to force change that they want.
Luke, we're not on the Patreon. We're not on the Patreon.
We gotta back up. Because like you said, it's been happening for a long time now. It's been happening for a long time. They want to switch it. They want to switch it to this. They want to switch to that. Let's have everybody have their day. Why are you trying to take away the Italians' day? Next thing you know, they're gonna be Alex. Next thing you know, it's gonna be bad, man. All right, listen. Let's just move on. They're gonna try to take away Meatball Day.
Meatball Day.
You'll never take away Meatball Day.
Meatball Day. Never. Not in this household. Not in this one.
All right. Let's just move on. It's like
Julian Erosa, the worst.
Bobby Green fought so valiantly. I love you, Bobby. You lost. Moving on. Julian Erosa, man.
No, too much hot dogging, Luke. Too much hot dogging.
No.
You leave yourself open. When your hands are that low, you leave yourself open.
Prince Hassim, and you're mad about Bobby Green hot dogging? Prince Hassim's one of your favorite boxers. Dude, Prince Nassim. You love Prince Nassim, okay? So
I love Prince Nassim. He's my favorite boxer ever. Yes, listen, for sure.
Then just don't be stupid. It's not hot dog. It's a Philly shell. It's a Philly shell.
Luke, it wasn't a Philly shell. It was hands at your knees the whole time. Yo, who did the basketball move during the fights? Was it Manel Kopp? He was hitting him with crossovers.
It was Manel Kopp. And here's the thing, man. Yeah. And that's the one saving grace from Paul Felder. He did give an Allen Iverson reference at that moment, which was nice. Yeah. But, okay, listen. Moving on. We got
the answer, baby. But
Juicy J.
Bobby Green was hot dogging too much. He kept his hands too low. When you're up against the fence, those hands got to be high and tight, baby. Just like a fucking Navy SEAL's haircut. High and tight. You got to keep them things up. You got to make sure that a guy like Drew Dober, he's going to take 3 to give 1 bomb, dude. You got to keep
157 to give 1, dude. You took 157. You Homer Simpson him to the highest degree. No respect. All right, a little bit of respect, obviously, but just like it was not flattering. I told you I had a headache at the beginning of the show. Don't piss me off, dude.
I'm going to piss you off. That's my goal.
All right, we got a couple more fights to break down from last week, and then we'll take
Julian Erosa absolutely ruined my entire night. I had a couple.
Listen, and that was one I sniffed it. Listen, I'm telling you right now, I was standing there trying to rebuild my parlays, and I look and I go, do I put Julian Erosa in this? And I hear Joey Diaz's voice going like, Alex Caceres. Caceres. This kid, Alex Caceres, he's been around. He's been in the UFC a long time. And I'm just like, he's like, and they're trying to make this kid Alex Caceres an underdog, man. And I'm just like, hearing his voice talking about it like in post, like about how because he picked Alex Caceres when he beat Chase Hooper, and I thought the UFC setting up Chase Hooper with a fight against a guy with not as good a jiu-jitsu, and they're gonna get him a win. I thought they were doing that against Kron Gracie. I thought they were doing that with Chase Hooper. I always thought they were using Alex Caceres, but Alex Caceres has never been used once. He goes in there and he fucking wins silently every single fucking time. He must.
But you know what I didn't like, Luke? You know what I didn't like? That. Oh, what did I do to him? What did I do to him? Look, afterwards, like he's fucking Frankenstein and he doesn't know like what he did to the person that he, or like he's Lenny from fucking the Rabbits George. He's acting like he's Lenny and he accidentally strangled this guy to death. No, you purposefully knocked him out and ruined my night, Alex Caceres. So don't sit there and while you're sitting there about to get your hand raised, be like, Oh my gosh, he's still falling over. I'm a little pussy baby boy. Oh, the true way of the samurai is to play drums and be a loser and knock people out and act like it's a bad thing for my career. I don't want to knock people out like that. I want to win on point karate.
Big time evil hippie vibes, dude. Evil hippie vibes.
Evil hippies.
Like Alex Caceres, hippies are annoying. What can we say? But good fighting style, and I gotta remember.
I don't give a shit about the rest of the fights. Take over for a second. I'm about to piss my pants. Dan, this is on you. Next time I pee, it might be on you. It's on you. Luke, take over.
Well, I mean, Amir Albazi, if you were following me in the open bets sheet, I took him by finish, and he did get the finish, and thank God he did, because it was looking like he didn't need to, and you hate this. That would have made me not a fan of Amir Albazi. It would have made me not a fan if I had to see him just coast in the third round and not get the finish against the guy who took the fight on short notice. I would have been suspicious. I would have been like, did you guys work a deal out in the back? Like, did you guys do something like, yeah, I'll take the fight on short notice, just don't knock me out, bro. Like, I can't have that. I can't see that. The UFC can't afford that in today's day and age, guys, with all that's going on. So I was happy to see him get the finish. I was pretty much writing him off as not going to get the finish when I saw how easy he was able to keep him down, control him. And, he just wasn't really going for damaging strikes. We're able to get them at least with Costa's jiu-jitsu game. Second round, he drops him, but then kind of just was content staying on top for the whole round. So I was like, all right, well, he didn't go for the finish when he had him hurt. So why would I expect him to get it in the third round? Clips him, hurts him, drops him, gets the finish. Love to see it. I was able to advance a little bit into the evening. Then Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, another pick that I got correct on an island by myself. The picks I got correct where I was on an island by myself were Arman Tsarukyan. And you'll remember I picked against him in the Mateus Gamrot fight. I backed Mateus at over plus 200 odds. And the other two guys put me on an island doing that. So it's so interesting to see the poetic justice swing the pendulum back in my direction where I go, look, I never had any disrespect for Arman Tsarukyan in the Mateus Gamrot fight. I just knew one of his biggest areas of strength was going to be null and void in the wrestling. And I thought all things equal would be a close fight over the 5 rounds. And his body type is not built for 5. This fight was 3, not 5. Makes all sense in the world. He would be able to go in there and control and dominate and get the win. He did against the underdog Ismagulov. Ismagulov, though, a tough customer. All things equal, very close fight. I think over 5 rounds, Ismagulov could have rallied, could have damaged, could have clipped him, could have come back, and maybe even won that fight. But it was a nice sweep for Tsarukyan. And in my opinion, I was destined to break 50% in the main event because I really had a lot of confidence in Sean Strickland. It was kind of getting tested going into the fight. And I mean, I would have been wrong either way. Plus 240 odds betting Jared Cannonier by KO. Plus 240 odds betting Sean Strickland by decision. That's how I would have called it. I wouldn't have picked Jared Cannonier by decision because I wouldn't have believed that would have been able to happen, right? But seeing how he came back against in the fight with Izzy, survived 5 rounds with Izzy. Some people can't do that. Maintain the cardio to survive the 5 rounds. I kind of should have given him more respect and more credit there. Overall, I think Sean Strickland clearly won 3, 4, and 5. I think you should have given him the fight. Maybe not 4, now that I think back on it, but I think maybe 1 or 2, 3, and 5 for sure. I know he did a great job with the volume. My thing with Sean Strickland is rounds 1 and 2, his body language was severely bad. It was bad. And he was taking a lot of leg kicks in those rounds. It was noticeable. All things equal, round 1 was kind of a snoozer. Round 2, he took some leg kicks. I think he started to come alive 3, 4, 5 and did enough to win in my eyes. I thought that Sean was going to get the win. I thought that he had Jared looking scared at a lot of moments, but the first 2 rounds, Jared had Sean looking scared without having to do anything. Sean was just afraid of in his prime, locked and loaded, not tired at all, dry Jared Cannonier. It took him a while, I think, to get comfortable in there, but he was a different guy in rounds 3, 4, and 5. Sean was. Sean looked like Miranda Cosgrove in the first 2 rounds. He looked scared, feeble.
Miranda Cosgrove?
Yeah, Miranda Cosgrove. There's this image of her on iCarly doing like a MMA fight.
Yeah.
And the way that she holds her hands and the way Sean holds his hands are like virtually identical. But I'm going with Sean as the guy who I thought won. And don't know what to say. I'm sure you.
I mean, for me, it felt like it felt like.
I'm gonna piss too. Go ahead, talk about your fights for this one, and talk about Arman Tsarukyan. I talked about how I was on an island by myself when I picked Gamrot against Tsarukyan at plus 200, but then I ended up picking Arman in this fight and was on an island by myself yet again, picking him at minus 200. So it was interesting how I called it both ways, but I was saying how the 5 rounds really favored Gamrot, whereas this was only a 3-round fight, which favored Tsarukyan. And his wrestling's a lot better than Demir's, whereas his wrestling's not much better than Gamrot's, if it's better at all.
Yeah, so I had Amir Albazi. That was an absolute domination. After that, Demir Ismagulov. I was a little disappointed. I mean, it felt like most of the fight he was just getting held up against the fence, and I don't really understand the criteria anymore. You say it's damage, you say it's this, you say it's that. Yeah, he might have touched his butt to the canvas a couple times during the fight, but he popped right back up for a majority of those times. I don't necessarily see how this, I'm pretty sure it was ruled 30-27 unanimous decision. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I agree that Demir didn't necessarily put on the best performance. And I agree with Luke in the aspect where if this was a UFC fight night anywhere else and, you know, you didn't have Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier headlining the damn thing, this should have been a main event. And then 5 rounds, Demir Ismagulov looked like he was more fit for 5 rounds, where Arman Tsarukyan kind of put everything into those first 2.5 rounds. And I mean, I don't know. I don't really feel too bad about this pick. The next fight, Luke says he saw it for Sean Strickland winning. I don't really care. I don't really care. Nobody really went out there and snatched it. Nobody went out there and did so much where you can declare robbery, declare this, declare that. Yeah, I might have thought Sean Strickland was winning, but my lying eyes deceive me all the time, especially when my money is on the line. So I really don't take too much umbrage in the split decision loss for Sean Strickland. It seemed like it wasn't the Sean Strickland that we all know and love that goes out there and takes a win, that goes out there and really puts the pedal to the metal. Yeah, he had a tough weight cut, granted, and Jared Cannonier is a tough son of a bitch, tough customer, strong as hell. And, you know, I thought that one of the most egregious scorecards of the year was Jared Cannonier versus Israel Adesanya. The fact that some of those people gave Israel Adesanya all 5 rounds is absolutely egregious. He did nothing but sit there and pitter-patter, and Jared Cannonier landed the more meaningful strikes. So if you want to talk to me about damage, being the most important thing in these fights, then you must tell me how Israel Adesanya can win so many fights without doing any damage to his opponents. And Jared Cannonier can go out there and lose fights by absolutely bludgeoning his opponents. That being said, I didn't think either of these guys were a clear victor in this fight. So I take no umbrage in the split decision. Thought it might be a draw. Don't know. None of the guys could surpass a 10-8 round. So I don't know how it would be a draw, but I take no umbrage in this whatsoever.
Bro, listen, you don't need, no one asks you to take Dolores Umbridge anywhere, okay? Leave her at Hogwarts where she belongs. Moving on. Jared Cannonier, you know, gets the win.
Dude, I'm drawing time. I can't see when you're in the studio. You got to just bring yourself in, okay?
I thought you knew I was waiting in the wing.
No, I have no clue. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, all right, when's Luke coming back? I gotta elaborate more on how I do not take umbrage.
Okay, well, listen. Like I said, I went under 50% for just the second time this year. Let's see how many times Alex has gone under 50%. He went 50-50 on the Kevin Holland card. I'm scrolling further.
Don't talk about my 50-50s. Talk about the under 50.
I see a 9 out of 11 here. I see, you know, a lot of really good stuff here. 4 out of 11 with Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen. That was the last time. That was the last time it happened.
That was the worst performance I've had since the show's been in existence.
Yeah. And then I'm seeing a 5 out of 12. That was Cruz Vera. Largely because you picked Cruz. Could have chosen certified Vera. So that's 3 times. So, or that's 2 times. So because you didn't
spend won like 4 rounds and then got knocked out. But you know,
for me and you, that ties us with 2 apiece. 5 out of 12, and that was Mateus Gamrot versus Arman Tsarukyan. So, excuse me, dude. Pardon me. I fucking drank some seltzer water. Sorry, everybody.
Luke, it's because I'm a home run hitter. I'm a home run hitter.
I just want to say,
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win you big, or I'm gonna lose you big. Either one of the two. It's no in between. I'm Barry Bonds, baby. I'm coming up here, and if I don't hit a home run, they're walking me, and I'm breaking even, or we are getting struck out, and we're losing $150 on the night. If I win, We're up big, baby. We're up
You've
huge.
only gone in year 3, which we've given 200. We've given 300 plus picks in year 3. You've actually only gone under 50% 3 times. I've only gone under 50% 2 times. And as far as Dan goes,
I don't know. There's probably too many to count.
No, I mean, I'm not seeing a lot here. I'm not seeing any really actually yet. I haven't seen a single one yet, to be honest. I don't. Maybe Dan has never gone under.
He's very average. He's remarkably average.
5 out of 12 with the same one you went 5 out of 12. You guys, so there you go. You were both remarkably average that night. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Dan, I think Dan's only happened once for Dan. I think
he's remarkably mediocre.
Yeah, he's very consistent now, and he regresses to the mean quick. Like he does it. He just hits that like 63% every week. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take everybody through Nasruddin Imavov versus Kelvin Gastelum, a fight card I am liking a lot of spots in early, guys. And if we can get the fight odds early while everyone's sleeping over the holidays, we'll come up strong. Let's do it. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Nasruddin Imavov, UFC Vegas 67, taking place at the Apex. Small cage, I guess. So Imavov versus Gastelum. To me, Imavov is a guy that I've picked in pretty much every fight he's been in the UFC. I've taken the Russian sniper over the last 2 years in 4 out of his 5 UFC. I've won with him 4 out of his 5 last 5 fights. I lost with him against Phil Halls, but that was a fight you remember. He had Phil Halls doing the chicken dance in round 3 a year and 9 months ago. Ian Heinisch, I take Nasruddin Imavov. Edmund Shabazian, I take Nasruddin Imavov. Joaquin Buckley, I take Nasruddin Imavov. He gets all 3 of those fights, wins all 3 of those fights. Kelvin Gastelum's a fighter I've been equally fading, guys. And I've been right too. I've been right when he fought Hermanson. I was wrong when he fought Heinisch. I was right when he fought Whitaker and Cannonier. I've been fading respectfully and responsibly Kelvin G, and been doing well doing so. He's 5 years older than his opponent here. He's going to sacrifice 4 inches of reach. He's going to sacrifice like 6 inches of height. I'm taking Imavov, the Russian sniper, to put Kelvin Gastelum away. Kelvin's hard to from Yuma, Arizona. Kelvin Gastelum is a Mexican warrior. He's going to fucking be in there probably for all 5 rounds, but I think he takes a beating. And honestly, I think he gets knocked out. I think Kelvin gets knocked out. Nasruddin Imavov by knockout. Very confident. Extremely, extremely confident is Luke. Luke is extremely confident. Hey, you know how that goes.
All right. Imavov. I was hoping Dan would be here because I went way more history on this one than any other one. But Imavov, the Russian sniper, against Kelvin Think Outside the Bun Gastelum. Imavov will channel his inner Vasily Zadisev, World War II sniper who had 225 confirmed kills in the Battle of Stalingrad alone, Luke.
Wow.
The joke was think outside the bun. I've been thinking outside the bun a lot, actually. I've been going to Taco Bell quite a bit.
No, we know that Kelvin loves taquitos. Kelvin loves tacos.
I'm having empanadas tonight, in fact.
He's having empanadas. He's still having rice and beans. Kelvin loves home cooking. He loves food truck cooking. He loves Taco Bell. He's not picky. Kelvin will eat anything. In-N-Out Burger. He just saw Poppins at In-N-Out Burger the other day out there in California.
Working, right?
Working. She was working. She'll be back there on Monday. We got to keep that Stipe Miocic mindset with her in an In-N-Out Burger. We got to keep her there. Those are her people. They make her clean the toilets. They keep her grounded. Okay, so just keep Poppins at that In-N-Out Burger. Don't let her leave. She's back there on Monday morning. She can take a couple days off to enjoy Sunday. Sunday she can take off. Monday she's back in there. Okay.
Oh, but I'm taking Imavov. I'm sorry. I just gave a bunch of history.
Imavov. This next one, let's not waste a shitload of time on. Shavkat Rakhmonov is the king at 170. The only person who gives him a run for his money is Hamza Chimaev, in my opinion. Maybe Colby Covington, maybe Kamaru Usman, the elite of the elite. But Jeff Neal is not the elite of the elite, and Jeff Neal loses this fight to Shavkat Rakhmonov. Give me Shavkat minus 330 right now. Get it while it's hot. It's not going nowhere. It's going up to minus 400, minus 450 by fight time easily.
The Nomad, coming from Uzbekistan, a country once occupied by Alexander the Great. No wonder they throw homosexuals in prison now.
Dude, what? What is that even supposed to mean?
Alexander the Great, Greek. He liked little boys, you know, like back in the day. Come on. Okay. But I think this little Uzi will prevent Neal from standing vert for very long. Shavkat Rakhmonov.
He's what? What do you mean, the little Uzi?
He was born in Uzbekistan.
Oh, okay. I don't like the racy stuff. Don't talk about gay people.
That wasn't
or
racy.
Irish
That wasn't
people.
racy at all.
Don't
That
talk
wasn't
about
racy at
anything
all.
like that.
It's true. These are all facts.
Definitely don't talk about the Hawaiians, because you know those are my people.
Oh,
you
well,
know,
there's a Hawaiian coming up, Luke, and I got a bunch of fodder for him.
So you're settling with Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Double P certification.
Puna Hele Soriano taking on Roman Kopylov. Puna Hele coming off a knockout of Dolce Luganbula. Interesting to see him be able to get the knockout against a guy who likes to bang like Dolce. You know, judoka, but sure, like, you know, he likes to let his hands go. Knocked him out in round 2. This fight, though, I'm taking Roman Kopylov, man, in spades. I love Roman Kopylov here. I think it's going to be a Russian night. We're going to see the Russian sniper get the win, but we're going to see Roman Kopylov also get a win here. You're losing to Brendan Lau and you're losing to Nick Maximoff. Your only wins are against Dusko Todorovic and Dolce Luganbula. And then you got a contender series win against Jamie Pickett. I'm taking Roman Kopylov. I loved what I saw in his last fight against Chicarico. Finished him in round 3. His fight with Duryev, it really surprised me. I thought Duryev was going to kind of walk through him. He ended up competing really well there. What can I say? Carl Robertson choked him out in round 3. Not a good look. But I think some of that adversity he's faced in his UFC career, his first 2 fights, guys pulling out. This is a fight that it's a very winnable fight compared to some of his past opponents. So give me Kopylov.
Kopylov, he is from Novosibirsk, Russia, Luke. Do you know what Novosibirsk, Russia is famous for?
Let me guess. Sardines.
No. It's actually home of the largest underground bridge in the entire world.
Well, I know that Russia has a gigantic hole through the center of the earth that they're digging, right? So is this part of that?
Makes sense. 2,145 meters long. Wow. Now, I think Puna's going to win this one. Besides that, I think Puna's going to win this one. I just have a weird feeling. I think this is going to be much like a Drew Dober, Bobby Green fight. He might take 3 to land 1, but if that 1 lands, geez Louise, he is coming out there on top. Puna Soriano.
Okay.
I wish it was Nick Soriano, went to Rutgers wrestler, USA world competitor.
Well, we'll split that. I mean, you got to trust Extreme Couture for sure, but 75-inch reach for Roman, 3 inches over Puna Hele. I just think that Roman's built for this. Puna Hele has too much glamour muscles, kind of like Drew Dober, a little stiffer, a little slower, a little more plodding. Of course, he has that power, but I think Kopylov, having been, in there with guys like Duryev, I just think that, he's stepping into his own here. They're the same age. Give me the more physical guy. Give me the guy with the wrestling. I think he can pick him up and drop him on his butt at will there, especially if guys like Brendan Allen and Nick Maximoff could find success doing that too. So give me Kopylov. We'll split here, split the difference. Ige versus Jackson, very interesting fight. Super hard to know what to do with Jackson coming off that huge fucking win against Pat Sabatini. Will he face a little bit of a afterbirth there, right? I mean, that's a fight where he was coming in after his brother died. It's 2 months ago, and he's coming in 34 years old here. I was trying to fade him against Pat Sabatini. I thought Pat Sabatini was going to ragdoll him for 3 rounds. I thought Jackson was going to accept bottom position. I thought he would have his moments grappling-wise, but ultimately lose control time and lose the fight by decision. He kicked Pat Sabatini right in his fucking shit, knocked him out in the first round. It was amazing. Doing that when your brother died, beating guys like Daniel Argueta, beating guys like Kamala Kirk, beating guys like Charles Rosa. I obviously picked Damon Jackson against Charles Rosa. I picked him against Kamala Kirk. Might have even picked him against David Argueta. But I didn't pick him against Pat Sabatini. Damon Jackson's a guy I really like. I would love nothing more than to fade a guy off 3 losses. They're 3 decision losses, though, and they're in these fights, against the elite of the elite, right? Like 15-0 Movsar Evelev, 16-2 Josh Emmett, 16-6 Chan Sung Jung, 21-4 Calvin Kattar. When you put him in there against guys like Gavin Tucker, kind of one-dimensional fighters, Ige is able to finish him in devastating fashion. Is Jackson that guy? I don't think so, man. I really think that Jackson could get knocked out here by Dan Ige, though. I think Jackson's more elite than not, but he's just not in that kind of moves Evelev, Emmett, Jung, Cater conversation. You know what I mean? He's a tier down from guys like that. And I think with his age, it's so tough, man. You got Extreme Couture versus Fortis MMA. You got identical reach. You got Jackson to be a little bit taller, but I think that actually is a disadvantage because then Ige can kind of, catch him like that. It's better to punch up than it is to punch down for defense-wise, you know what I mean? And if they are trading punches, I think Ige could definitely knock him out. Part of me wants to go Ige by knockout here. I think he's in a must-win position. I think Ige could drop him, put him on his butt, finish him with shots, TKO him. Give me Ige by finish, man. Damn, it's like one of those things, Alex, like you said, you have to be uncomfortable with it. I am uncomfortable with it because I really like Damon Jackson, and I want to correct my mistake since I picked him against Sabatini, but I think the mistake is thinking he's going to win 4 in a row and thinking Ige is going to lose. The mistake is thinking Jackson's going to win 5 in a row and Ige is going to lose 4 in a row. Jackson's not that guy and Ige's not that guy. Simple as that. That's the best breakdown you're going to get of this, and I give it to you for free. You're welcome.
50K Ige, fitting name for a guy who has 9 decisions in his UFC career. But on a real note, any up-and-coming fighter looking for an agent, go to Ige. You too can never fight for a title and get the worst matchups possible. But jokes aside, guys, yeah, I told you I was coming at Hawaiian, and I told you I was coming at him hard, okay?
Having Dan Ige as your manager is like having a bald barber. It's like you really don't know what you're getting into because he's not doing a good job for himself,
Yeah, I agree.
Or not even a bald barber, but a barber with, because a lot of barbers are bald, but like a barber with a fucked up haircut,
I thought you said blind barber.
No, a bald barber. Or like it's like having a barber with a bad haircut.
Yeah,
he's not doing himself any favors here. Movsar Evelev, Josh Emmett, he might say, hey, those are the fights you want to elevate you in the division and get you to where blah, 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 blah. Who's fighting for the fucking title in the division? Remind me.
Exactly.
Remind me.
It's 145. It's Yair Rodriguez versus somebody for an interim title, while Alexander Volkanovski jumps. It might be Josh Emmett versus Yair Rodriguez. Now that I'm thinking about it, for the interim title, while Volkanovski goes up and fights for the lightweight title.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You fight Josh Emmett when you have to fight him, and there's a belt on the line. You know what I mean? That you navigate.
And Yair Rodriguez is going to absolutely get demolished. But
yeah, you're right about that. They're fighting on the same card as Volkanovski and Makhachev. And it is for the interim featherweight championship. But my point is exactly proven because guess what? Fucking Yair Rodriguez, of all people, right? 30 years old, beats Brian Ortega by shoulder injury 4 months ago. Before that, loses to Max Holloway. Now he's getting a title shot over Dan Ige.
Ed Max Holloway.
What?
Ed Max Holloway.
Yeah. Before
this
that,
is still Max Holloway's division.
Yeah. Before that, he had a year-long trilogy trilogy with Jeremy Stevens, where he accidentally pokes him in the eyes and then fights him a month later and decisions him, and then loses to Max Holloway, finishes Brian Ortega in suspicious fashion. The guy has not had a good win since he pulled that chance. If you're being real,
and he lost all of that fight.
That's what I'm saying. In the last 4 years, Yair Rodriguez has won arguably 2 rounds. Dead serious. In 4 years, Yair Rodriguez has probably won 2 fucking rounds.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think about.
It's insane. He either wins by flash knockout or Frankie Edgar can take him down and beat the shit out of him for however long he wants. Like, if you're losing Frankie Edgar in recent memory, it doesn't look good.
Very interesting. All right, well, continue, Alex. Go ahead, break down the fight.
Yeah, I think I'm taking Action Jackson. I mean, I don't really look at his competition very stiff, except for Pat Sabatini. Ilia Topuria knocked him out, as he should. But although Ilia Topuria and Dan Ige can look similar from a distance, like, if you're walking through a mall and you see either one of them, you might be convinced it's the other one. But there's one element to this that Ilia Topuria is better than him, and that is that he is more well-rounded. And although Dan Ige can hold people up against a cage, I think a guy like Damon Jackson might just snatch something up. He's long enough. He's lanky enough. And I don't know. I mean, that is where you want a guy like Damon Jackson when you are the shorter fighter. So I'm kind of convincing myself to take Dan Ige here because I feel like that's his route to victory. He just, feint goes for a double leg every, 30 seconds against the cage, starts kneeing him in the legs. And Damon Jackson's just sitting there like, and like doing these elbows and stuff. But all right, I guess I'll have time to switch it since, this fight is in 4 weeks. I'm going to go with Damon Jackson, but now that I'm talking about it, I think Dan Ige holds him against the fence for a snooze fest.
All right. Well, you like you said, you have a right to change it. Alan Nascimento versus Carlos Hernandez. What do you know about Carlos Hernandez at 125? Is this a newcomer? Because I don't really know this guy. I've never heard of him.
He's only fought in the Contender Series.
No, he fought Victor Altamirano and won by split decision. Now I remember this guy.
Oh, right.
Now I remember this guy because Altamirano was 10-1 at the time. Good fighter. Alan Nascimento, though, no slouch, 19-6, coming off that win against Jake Hadley, who we all know is really good. Before that, split decision loss to Tagir Ulanbekov. And before that, wasn't in the UFC. Lost his split decision debut in Contender Series back in 2018 to Julian Paiva. Obviously, had to take that fight with Tagir probably on short notice over the course of the pandemic. Gets the second opportunity against Hadley and wins. Beats the undefeated at the time Hadley 8-0. Hadley gets the win by decision. I think Alan Nascimento could, coming out of Diego Lima, this is a guy who trains with Charles Oliveira. Am I
right? He's in Shoot Box Diego Lima. I don't know if Charles DuBronx does train there. Yes.
So I'm thinking I'm going to go with Nascimento just out of veteranship, man. He's got 25 fights. This guy's 9. I think that he can go in there and show this kid who has a split decision win coming off the Contender Series, a split decision win in the UFC in his debut. I think the buck stops here with Nascimento. Give me Nascimento in this one.
Speaking of bucks, Alan Nascimento, a.k.a. the Polar Bear, from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Luke. Often thought to be the home of the Cristo Redentor, but it's not. That's Rio de Janeiro. Sao Paulo, Brazil is home of the famous anti-football pussy Gisele Bündchen. Gisele Bündchen. Tom Brady's ex-wife, famous anti-football pussy. I'm going with Alan Nascimento here, just because of the experience. And, you get a loss to Tajiro and Bekoff. What does that mean? It's a split decision. You probably, one judge had you winning that fight. And that means the wrestling wasn't enough. Do I think that Carlos Hernandez has enough wrestling to take Alan Nascimento into deep waters? No, sir. And I think I think Alan Nascimento is the more well-rounded fighter. He has a bunch of fights, some winning by submission, most winning by submission, some by undisclosed. So who knows how the hell that worked. But even if this goes to the ground, I'm confident Alan Nascimento will be able to take control of the situation. In fact, I think if it does go to the ground, he will be the one initiating those exchanges. So I'm going with Alan Nascimento here. The Puro Oso, the Polar Bear. Let's go, baby.
So going back, you could give Yair, I guess, one of the rounds against Max Holloway too. So he's won 4 rounds.
No way. He
lost every single one of them?
Every single one.
I went back and I checked the scorecards for the second fight with Jeremy Stephens and his fight with Chan Sung Jung. 2 of the judges had Chan Sung Jung winning 3-1 going into the 5th, and I think they all had him winning the 5th too. So it wasn't written, but because it finished with a second left. So we won't count that last round. But basically, in 4.5 years, because the fight before the Chan Sung Jung fight was Frankie Edgar, where he lost by stoppage in the second round. The reality is he's only won 1 round against Chan Sung Jung and 2 rounds against Jeremy Stephens in 4.5 years.
Guys, what would Max Holloway
now getting an interim title shot?
What would Max Holloway do to Chan Sung Jung? Oh, he has showed you. But what would he do to Jeremy Stephens? He wouldn't go to a decision with Jeremy Stephens.
Jeremy Stephens isn't even in the UFC anymore.
Well, he would put Jeremy Stephens in his prime's eyeball out of his head. His eyeball out of the socket. Like, Max Holloway would box Jeremy Stephens into oblivion.
Like, Chan Sung Jung just lost to the champ. Absolute domination. Did beat Dan Ige, though. Did beat Hinatu Moicano, though. Did beat Frank Edgar, who beat Rodriguez, though. So we really got to put Rodriguez below Chan Sung Jung, who we have to put below, Ortega, Volkanovski.
Let's just say Josh Emmett is the only one who deserves to be in this spot. Yair Rodriguez has no business being in this spot whatsoever. I would have rather them tossed one of the newer guys out there. You know what I mean?
As long as Josh Emmett doesn't, as long as Josh Emmett doesn't absolutely choke, he can win this fight in several different areas. You know what I mean? He can
take him down. He can beat the shit out of him.
Knocked out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think he's going to take him down and probably submit him in the second round.
Yeah, I think he can definitely take him down, hold him down, beat the living shit out of him for all 5 rounds. But he's got to keep his head on a swivel the whole time. I'm definitely going to take Emma in this one. All right, let's move forward. Catlin Vieira. We're in the prelims now. By the way, just a shout out. Like, Alex and I are here on the break week. I know a lot of your other favorite handicappers are probably not here. I know that Dan is not here, but we are here for you. And as a special treat, we're going to break down all of the prelims for free. We usually charge for the shit. We usually charge for it in the Patreon. This is how you can get there. Patreon.com/ProPursuit. There's a discount if you subscribe for the full year. Please do so, guys. And we're not stingy. Like, if you're not happy, hit me up. We will work out a deal. We're also giving away gifts, Christmas gifts. If you sign up for the full year, DM me your address, and I'll send you a little something special from the boys. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey, helping this show grow, helping us get up out of poverty, and we appreciate it. So, Ketlin Vieira taking on Raquel Pennington, our second prelim fight of the night that we're breaking down for you here for free. We got Ketlin Vieira, Raquel Pennington, 14-8. Raquel Pennington, number 6 ranked bantamweight worldwide, 13-2. Ketlin Vieira, number 3 bantamweight worldwide, 135-pound affair. And both fighters, doing pretty good things in this division at their age. 31 years old, Ketlin Vieira coming off a 2-fight win streak to the likes of Miesha Tate and a split decision win against Holly Holm. I had Holly in that fight, thought it was kind of a robbery. Before those two, she lost to Yana Kutsukaya, beat Sarge Eubanks in the decision, and got knocked out by Irene Aldana. Ketlin Vieira, kind of stiff, kind of plodding. Girls like Irene Aldana easily can dap her up with that boxing style from range. But you'll notice that, Holly Holm lost to was the last loss of Raquel Pennington. No shame there. Decision to Holly Holm 2 years and 10 months ago. Since then, she's been, over the last 3 years, on a streak. Beats Marion Renault, beats Penny Kyanzad, beats Macy Chiasson, beats Aspen Ladd. I have been trying to fade Rocky every fucking way. I don't know what to do with this fight, Alex. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, this fight is rocky, although neither of these old hags are phenomena. I think Vieira wins. I mean, you got to look at the age here, 31 to 34, 34. Rocky's got the dogs at home. Ketlin Vieira is going out there. She's an absolute animal. Although I thought she lost that fight to Holly Holm, Rocky lost way more definitively to Holly Holm. So what are you doing with your fingers?
Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
Rocky and Tisha just got married.
Oh, well. Hold on. Let's clap it up. I don't have a clap track. Congratulations to Raquel Pennington because you're batting out of your league.
Who is? Raquel Pennington? I think Raquel's cute.
I think Tisha's cuter. Listen, when I get married, everybody in my family is going to tell me I'm batting out of my league as well. But that's besides the point. I think that Raquel, she's older. She's over the hump. Wait.
I'm seeing this from February. Oh, no, this has got to be bullshit. It's Reddit. Okay, never mind.
What is it? That they're separated?
I'm seeing that they're getting that it says they're getting a divorce, but this is from 3 years ago, so it can't be real. They weren't even married 3 years ago.
All right. Well, nonetheless, shout out to.
Oh, they're gonna have a baby. I think that's what it was. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to.
Who's having the baby? Obviously not Raquel. Obviously not Raquel.
Yep, Torres is pregnant. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so, yep, and this was from.
Damn, how did Rocky pull that one off?
That must be a miracle worker, dude. Listen, they have an extra turkey in the oven this year. From our family to yours, baby Pennington due June 2000. So the baby is not here yet. She's getting ready for it.
Damn, but dude, I love that.
Mean?
Although
I'm trying to figure out what does it mean. What does it mean? Is she going to be tired? Is she going to be like? Is she going to be motivated? Is she going to be kind of like heading in the wrong places? Like, what do you think?
I don't know, but I just love when these women just decide, like, yo, you're the bitch. This is baby Pennington now. And like it's like a Nina Nunes, like, and them, they're like, hey, you suck at fighting. Like, I'm gonna go on and finish my career out, even though you're younger and more talented than me. Like, I mean, that's in Rocky's case. Like, I think Tisha Torres is way better than Rocky by every stretch of the imagination. They must be sparring too much, and the extra weight's getting to Tisha that she's like, hey, I gotta get something going. Might as well put a bun in the oven. I mean, I think Tisha Torres is closer to a title than Rocky Pennington, although Rocky's weight class is a lot less steep than Tisha's. I think Tisha's the one that's really knocking on the door rather than Rocky. But besides that, like, how do they make that decision? Luke, do you know? How do they decide who's going to get pregnant?
When a man loves a woman, do you need this birds and the bees talk? Like, what do you mean? When a woman loves a woman, they sit down with their dogs and they explain to them that there's going to be a new member of the family. And
but how do they decide which one's going to be pregnant? Whoever has the fight in the farther distance, or like what? Like, how does that work? Like,
I don't know. I'm sure one of them probably just wants to, and the other doesn't.
Volunteers.
Easy.
Yeah.
If you ask me and my lady, who like, if we both could, I'd be like, I'm good if she wants to. Like, especially after seeing it live in action. That's all it would take for me. I'd be like, well, like, do you want to? Like, well, she wants to. So, like, why don't we let her
sort it out?
Because I don't want to take that away from her. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm taking Ketlin Vieira here. I mean, too much on the mind. Now that you tell me they got a baby on the way.
And I'll give you guys more of a technical breakdown. Rocky, to me, looks a little bit lazy, plodding, a little bit too just kind of but she was
plump.
Yeah, she was just kind of like slow and kind of aloof in there. But like, she is also big and bullying in there. I just think the buck stops here with Rocky, whereas Ketlin Vieira is more in need of kind of a win here. I really hate the fight in terms of like a betting standpoint. I don't know what the odds are, but gun to my head.
You know where Wonder Woman's from?
Give me Ketlin Vieira.
Do you know where Wonder Woman's from?
Wonder Woman.
The Amazon, right?
I believe she is Israeli.
No, no, that's not my Wonder Woman. But the Amazons, Luke. Do you know where Ketlin Vieira is from?
Amazon, yeah.
Amazonas.
Yeah.
She's an Amazonian woman, and she's actually going to be bigger than Raquel Pennington. One of her biggest advantages is going to be a disadvantage in this fight because Ketlin Vieira is going to be the bigger woman in there, and she's going to have a lot more muscle mass where Plumpy Raquel, oh my gosh, I can't say that with a straight face. Plumpy Raquel is going to go out there and get sparked, I believe.
Bro, let's go. This guy is going to be making his debut. His name is Isaac Dulgarian.
I got to pee real quick.
Oh my God, dude, stop. Isaac Dulgarian. Name sounds like something out of Game of Thrones. Targaryen, Dulgarian. But this is the Midwest Choppa. I've never heard of him. He's 5-0. He's taking on Daniel Argueta. To me, Daniel Argueta is in the put up or shut up must win situation here. I mean, you shouldn't be getting too many opportunities in the UFC. You lose your debut, fine. 63% of people do. But to go back-to-back losses in the UFC is not a good shot, especially when you're getting the win or the in from the fact that you're in the Puppy Mill, Jackson Wink MMA. You know, you're out there UFC gym Costa Mesa with little Cub Swanson. You're out here doing pressers with Cub Swanson speaking on his behalf because he's weight cutting and his voice is so hoarse. He's sucking his weight down to fucking, you know, just to like even new weight. You know, just you get what I'm trying to say, guys. This fight, 145-pound fight. I think that this is a short notice fight for Mr. Argueta. His opponent, I think Argueta was already booked. And this guy's, let me see. No, sorry, it's not. So Argueta welcomes Dulgarian into the UFC at 145 pounds. I don't know, man. I'm kind of like, what's going on here? He just lost to Damon Jackson 5 months ago. Damon Jackson obviously on a bit of a streak. I think Daniel Argueta is in a must-win situation. So I'm going to take him. It says here that Isaac Dulgarian's out of Glory MMA and Fitness. I heard that ain't allowed anymore. So I wonder where he's training. The guys that across the gym haven't been performing all that well since they're in a negative spotlight situation. So I'm going with Daniel Argueta here, guys. Tentatively, I'm not really all that impressed with what he's doing. He better fucking put up or shut up. Better stop smiling so much. It ain't all that good. It ain't all good. This is what I have to work with, guys. What else can we say? Number 12 ranked middleweight out of the U.S. is Isaac Dolgarian. Let's peel back who he's fought, right? And who is the lofty company that he's in here with when we talk about being the number 12 ranked middleweight worldwide. Like, none of the other guys in the top, in the top 15 have a fight scheduled with the UFC or anything like that. 7-2, 7-2, 8-1, 5-0, 9-5, 11-6, 12-6, 13-5. These are the records I'm seeing amongst the Midwest top fighters. Oh, Chris Lencioni is number 3 ranked Midwest fighter, and he just beat Cody Law, who we're high on. So no shame. Maybe we do give this guy a little bit of a look. I don't know. Who do you think, Alex? We got Isaac, the Midwest chopper, Dolgarian versus David Argueta. Coming off a loss to Damon Jackson. So undefeated 5-0, Isaac the Midwest Choppa. You don't know what you don't know about a guy who's 5-0. What do we not know?
Argueta versus a Dolgarian. A Dolgarian? Is this a Midwest Chopper or is it Victor Krum, the Bulgarian Quidditch star who stole Hermione's heart?
Hey, you went Harry Potter, not Game of Thrones. You feel like 12 Targaryens staring you right in the face there.
No, a Bulgarian, it rhymes, Luke. Like, come on. And I had that Quidditch line lined up for you. I know you're the biggest Harry Potter nerd I've ever met in my life. But
I heard that Wednesday is just a ripoff of Harry Potter.
No.
I know you're a big Wednesday guy.
I am a big Wednesday guy. I was an Addams Family guy as a kid, okay?
I was an Addams Family guy as a kid as well. Maybe I'll give Wednesday a look. But I heard from the Peanut Gallery that it's just pretty much like Harry Potter.
No, it's not like Harry Potter. I mean, it's kind of similar in some ways, but Harry Potter is like lame, dude. Like, Harry Potter is so lame. Addams Family's cool, bro. But I think I'm gonna go with the Midwest Chopper here. We don't really have much on him, but Daniel Argueta, like, the Determined is a really good name for him, because if you remember him on The Ultimate Fighter, he was just always that guy, like, I'm just gonna see it, believe it, achieve it, conceive it, all that jazz. Like, he is that guy. And I mean, I'm not sold on Daniel Argueta, although, the Ultimate Fighter is one of the toughest competitions in the whole John. He lost to Damon Jackson in his UFC debut. He lost to Ricky Turquoise on this show. Although he was the first overall pick, I believe, in that season. Or was that Mitch? They might have both been the first picks. But yeah, I'm not sold on Daniel Argueta. I know he's pretty young and he has a pretty decent future, but Isaac Dolgarian, he's 26, younger, and has a brighter future and has a more athletic build. Although he doesn't have as big of a head or as big of a neck, I think Isaac is going to go out there and get it done NLE Choppa style. Shot a flow. All right, I guess Luke's not there. Next up, we got Omar Morales versus Mateus Rebecki. All right. The Venezuelan fighter versus the Chinese. I don't know what it is about Chingzik, but it makes me sick. But I think he will still destroy Morales. Yes, I am going with Mateus Rebecki here, who Chingzik, his nickname means Chinese in Polish. I looked it up earlier. Still don't know where Luke is. I guess I'll just go to the next fight. We got Umar Nurmagomedov versus Hony Barcelonis. Like me, Umar does not dine on the swine, but he will make an exception for Uncle's plan. I'm pretty sure this guy is Habib's cousin, Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm pretty sure he's Habib's cousin. And although Hony Bologna, he's out there and there's a little bit of pork in him. Umar's going to go out there and he's going to dine on the swine for one night and one night only, and he's going to make that piggy squeal. I'm going Umar Nurmagomedov here. You might pay a big price tag just because of the last name, but I think this is going to be a lot more even of a fight than people think. But Hony Barcelonis, he likes to accept bottom position a lot, and I think that the Dagestani wrestler is going to just be able to hold him there and score a lot of points and win that fight. Luke, still not here. Okay. Next up, we got Abdul Razak Al-Hassan versus Claudio Ribeiro. Judo Thunder representing Ghana from Minnesota. Luke, do you know what the capital of Minnesota is?
St. Paul. Minneapolis.
Minnesota is a city. Correct. Minneapolis.
Sorry about that. Were you able to kill the time while I was gone?
Yes. Well, Al-Hassan might be seeing stars, but not quite the light. So St. Paul won't be calling his name. He will be knocked out in this fight. He will be knocked out. Claudio Ribeiro will knock him out in this fight or win a decision. Claudio Ribeiro is going to win this fight. Luke, I went through the last four. I went through Isaac to
I see.
Claudio.
Okay, well, so you picked Isaac or Dan?
I picked Isaac. I picked Mateusz Rebecki, a.k.a. Chinksik. Do you know what Chinksik means in Polish, Luke?
No.
Chinese.
Oh my God, stop it.
It does. Look it up. Yo, I swear, look it up right now. Share your fucking screen.
Okay, all right.
Look it up right now. Go on Google Translate right this second and hit detect language, copy and paste that.
I'm not. Okay. Thank you. Moving on.
Yo. I'm being dead ass. I'm not.
I know. I believe you. But you've been making a lot of jokes lately, so I don't know.
It's not a joke.
Okay. Well, Mateusz Gamrot I like, and I think I'll like this Mateusz too, so I'll take him as well, tentatively. And I took Argueta. I just think that newcomers lose 64% of the time, so why would I take Isaac here when Daniel Argueta already shook the loss off in the Damon Jackson fight? And it was a valiant fight, and he really just kind of got back there. Will Isaac do that? 5-0. This guy's got 9 fights. He's got 5 fights. I like the guy who's got his feet wet in the UFC already, but I don't know. I mean, I'm scared of Isaac. I won't be betting Argueta in a lot of them, and let me get a chance to revisit it. Moving on, a lot of spots I do like. I think Mateusz is kind of the guy who's set up to win. He's the number 1 lightweight out of Poland, taking on the number 88 guy worldwide. Seems obvious to me the guy with more fights, higher ranked regionally in a competitive territory is going to win. So give me Mateusz. Umar Nurmagomedov, easy pick, 15-0. Amazing samurai sword katana-like kicks. He's going to kick Bologna to the body. He's going to kick him to the head. He's going to punch him. He's going to take him down. He's going to make him eat it. Only question is decision or finish. Got to kind of think about it a little bit.
You missed my best joke of the night on that one.
Even though Hody,
I said like me, Umar doesn't dine on the swine, but he will make an exception for Uncle's plan.
Because Uncle's plan for sure, and he's going to dine on the swine when he eats Hony Bologna up. I think Hony Bologna looked good against Trevin 5-star, but Trevin 5-star, I'll tell you, he didn't show up for that fight. He had the flu or something. Something was off there. But I'm going to go with Umar Nurmagomedov. And then, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan versus Claudio Ribeiro. I don't know too much about this guy, Claudio, but I heard you singing his praises when I popped in here. It's interesting that you would do that. I know a lot of people were trying to find a spot to take Abdul Razak Al-Hassan because people were kind of high on him as a striker. And he was getting a lot of striking heavy matchups like Manur Aziz, Chaos Williams, Jacob Malkoun is a grappler, but that's a fight that you would have thought he would be able to win because Jacob Malkoun doesn't have as good of striking, and you would think Razak Al-Hassan would be able to keep him off of him grappling-wise. Knocks out Chicharito with a head kick. Split decisions. Buckley was happy to stand with him, but ends up losing, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 5 at least. Judo Thunder, 37 years old. You got to think he's on his way out, even though he is Fortis MMA. I'm going to agree with you, Alex. Don't know too much about the 30-year-old out of Sao Paulo making his debut, but he has had some contender series experience. He'll feel right at home here in the Apex. He had a knockout win 3 months ago, riding a lot of momentum. Give me the 30-year-old. Give me Ribeiro.
I got a little bit of trivia for you before this next fight. A Christmas Story. Who was Ralphie's friend who got his tongue sucked to the pole?
Ooh, very interesting. Flick.
Jimmy Flick versus Charles Johnson. Now this is
tricky. I love it.
This is Jimmy Russell Westbrook Flick versus Charlie J. I don't know. I have bad handwriting, guys. Charlie J. Yeah, Charlie J. Charlie Johnson. I'm gonna need the energy to elevate and become the top G, and I think the top G can defeat Jimmy Flick on this night. Jimmy Flick, all of his fights that he's won, pretty much all by submission. And if you remember, Charles Johnson put up a really good fight against Muhammad Makayev. He didn't get submitted, although the Sheiks were guaranteeing Muhammad Makayev $100,000 if he submitted him in the second round. I think Charles Johnson goes out there and wins this fight. He's long, rangy, tall guy. I think he gives Jimmy Flick a bunch of trouble. And if you know anything about these tall, long guys, they're kind of hard to submit in certain submissions, especially as a shorter grappler. Luke, you could probably attest to that. The longer guys, it's kind of hard in certain submissions. Jimmy Flick, majority of his wins come by submission, if not decision. So I'm going to go with Charles Johnson here. He kept Muhammad Makayev off of him for quite a bit. I think that Jimmy Flick won't stand a chance.
And, you know, when you got Charles Johnson training at Tiger Muay Thai, he's amongst the Sarukians. He's amongst some really talented guys out there. So I'm going to go with Charles Johnson as well. I think that a year and 11 months off does not spell good for a guy who, you know, said he retired, right? So it's like if you retire, you're halfway in, halfway out. Meanwhile, I love the response to the Makayev loss. Took that fight on short notice. Obviously, a lot of people singing the praises of Makayev, able to take him the distance on short notice and rebound with a win. I like the professionalism. I like Charles Johnson. Give me energy. And that brings us to the first fight of the night on the prelims. Mateus Mendoca, undefeated 10-0 versus Javid Basharat. This feels like a Contender Series fight. And with Javid coming off the Contender Series, you got to think.
Javid's not coming off the Contender Series. He has 2 wins in the UFC. Mateus is. But
he was a Contender Series guy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then this guy coming off the Contender Series with a KO. When you see 2 undefeated guys like this, 2 dynamic guys with this kind of build and this kind of speed, it's really amazing. And the Snow Leopard has done a lot to impress me. I really liked him and how he handled himself against the vet, Tony Gravely. He obviously impressed against Trevin 5-Star Jones. And then, you know, just is able to submit his opponent, who was also undefeated on the Contender Series. I love it. I love his style. I like his build, his work ethic, his work rate. Lot to love about Javid Basharat. 2 undefeated guys. Somebody's always got to go. Give me Javid Basharat.
Luke, do you know what Bacau means?
No, what does it mean?
The mouth.
I was about to say boca, mouth. I was about to say.
Portuguese and Spanish, very similar. The Snow Leopard versus the Mouth.
Context clues.
Man, as much as I love 23-year-old Mouth, I'm going to roll with the Snow Leopard on this one because he bashed that racist rat coming into the UFC on the Contender Series fight. He called him a terrorist. He beat the shit out of him, beat the ever-living shit out of him, and has been impressing ever since. His last fight, maybe not the most impressive, but his first fight in the UFC was great. I think he had a couple of but Tony Gravely, tough customer. Tony Gravely is a very tough customer. The rankings don't necessarily show it. Tony Gravely's the man. He absolutely destroyed Trevin Jones. He absolutely destroyed Oran Kaulon, the racist. And hey, racist, if you want to come beat me up in the UFC PI, call my name. I'm ready anytime you want. I'll call you racist on this. I'll call you a racist right to your face. You call somebody a terrorist just because they're from Afghanistan, you're a douchebag, in my opinion. Douchebag of the week, Oran Kaulon. There you go.
All right.
Javid Basharat wins this.
Well, I'm ready to give my full picks, my full rundown, everybody. There's a few topics I wanted to hit, though, real quick before the football game starts out. Power slap. What's your take on power slap?
Power slap. I think Conor McGregor has the best idea in the world for power slap. I think him and Nate Diaz should go at it and see who's the best slapper.
Okay, that's fair. But I was kind of just thinking, you took Jackson over Ige, right?
Yes, for now.
Yeah, I'll wait till you give your full rundown. Just do it slower so I can make sure I record your picks, your early picks at least. And guys, you know, these are subject to change. We're going to come back in here with Dan. We're going to re-break them down again for everybody.
Luke, in 4 weeks. in 4 weeks, every single one of these fights is going to look different.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a lot of change. And also, guys, we just wanted to give something to chew on through the holidays, just so we didn't leave you high and dry. You can never say we didn't do anything for you. And now we'll give you a little bit more content. So let's talk about Power Slap. I just got the feeling when I watched the previews for Power Slap during last week's broadcast, there was kind of like this somberness after it. It wasn't like a good Expendables 9 where like afterwards Paul Felder is like, oh, I'd love to see Stallone back in action, and The Rock's going to be in it with Vin Diesel. This is going to be great. It's not like that, or it's not like something where you can like a pay-per-view like, oh, I'm so excited for that one, Joe, aren't you? Like it was like usually after you see an ad, people come in off the top and kind of like comment on it. It was silent. You could hear a pin drop off those ads. Nobody really liked it or wanted it, or it makes people uncomfortable. My girlfriend didn't like it. Nobody likes to see people getting hit in the head without being able to defend themselves. At least in the UFC, you have the illusion of, maybe they won't get in the head. Maybe they'll defend themselves, And it takes a lot of like skill and timing to like do that, like baseball.
But Luke,
let me finish. Power Slap is like T-ball to the UFC's baseball. It's like T-ball. You're setting them up on a tee. You're letting them do it. Like, I don't like it. The personalities in the house, you already see it in the previews, in the trailer. You see these guys throwing headlocks and fighting and throwing chairs at each other. And it's like, at the end of the day, that's the type of guy you're going to get who does Power Slap. Not a sophisticated martial artist, not somebody who's like able to control themselves and their emotions and their tempers and not fight in the house. Guys who don't even know how to fight, trying to fight each other and slap each other and do wild shit. It reminded Alex, you're my brother, and I would rather you be a pornographer than be a slapper. Like, than to just be sitting there getting hit in the head. I would rather you tell me that you're going to have sex on camera for money than I would be more proud of you than if you told me you were going to be in Power Slap League. I would literally be more proud of you.
No, I mean, I agree for sure, but like,
and I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with being in porn. I'm just saying that a career that most people would find taboo and would caution their family members against in porn. I personally would rather you do. I would be so relieved if you did that compared to if you told me you were going to get slapped in the head for money and couldn't defend yourself.
Yeah, but a lot of these people in porn, they're getting slapped in the head for money too. Maybe it might be the balls on their chin, but it's besides the point, Luke. These are all willing participants. You could be an electrical worker and get shocked to death any fucking day of your life. I'm going
to make the egg throwing championship, and it's just going to be people throwing eggs at people.
That sounds like the challenges in like what was it? I Love New York, New York.
Bro,
things like that. They had like the spitting contest where like whoever could spit the highest. And I remember.
Yeah, those dating shows. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I think that why not my idea, like hit people with sticks, you know what I mean? Like whack them with bamboo sticks. And it's kind of like Idiocracy when they had the Kick in the Nuts show, Ow My Balls. Ouch my balls. This is Power Slap is Ouch My Balls. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, Luke, if you want to make $1 million, what we need to do right now is have a ball kicking league.
Dude, I know.
Right this second. We need to make a ball kicking league.
And then there'll be a concussion style documentary starring Michael B. Jordan 15 years from now, where he's like a gray haired version of what Will Smith is now doing the concussion documentary.
Like, you cannot hit your balls. Because doesn't Will Smith come from like Kenya or something? He's like,
he's pointing
too much.
He's pointing to diagrams of bruised balls. He's like, it is because of the kicks.
we can use the CAT scans of my balls for this. You can put them up there and they'll be like, this should not be normal.
These balls have grown 4 times the size. Why has this happened? And then someone's like, I'm telling you, it's because of the cups. If you take away the cups, then the kicks are going to do more damage. It's the cups that are keeping them in there that long. It's like, no, if you take away the cups, these guys are going to take more damage. No. But yeah, I love it.
No, but I agree. You take away the helmets from football, it makes a huge difference. Nobody's leading with their fucking head.
Take away the gloves from the UFC, people aren't going to punch as hard. You know, you're weaponizing the wrist and the hand by taping it and doing all of these things. You're making it into like a weapon.
I mean, even bare knuckle FC, BKFC. I mean, you have close ties to them, right? You used to work with them on a professional level.
Don't bring that up, dude. Come on now.
What do you mean? This is adding your resume.
I was never
MMA journalist.
I was never employed by them. All right, no.
You're employed by a fighter.
I'd rather not talk about it. I was never employed by anybody. I'd rather not talk about it. I was never paid. Hey, you have to be paid money to be employed. So
you paid for your airfare. They got you out there.
So listen, no one paid. Listen, Alex, enough. I've had enough out of you. So that I wanted to talk about that. I also want to talk about Gordon Ryan loss. We talked about that.
Go deeper, because I
Well, I'm
literally,
saying, I'm
if you
judging a
break
fight, I'm
if
just
you
saying.
break my arm in a fight, you know, and I'm
Well, no,
a madman.
fair enough,
Let
but
me
how do you
finish.
score?
Let me finish,
Fair.
motherfucker.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, Jacare style. You tuck it in, and then you finish it out. But I'm just saying, like, I give. Okay, so he escaped faster. Fine. I give Nicky more points for breaking his shit and hurting him. Personally, my criteria.
But that's not how it goes. I mean, you got to know a rule set. You got to know a rule set, and that's the thing about
I'm
the
not looking for a
UFC.
rule set.
The
I'm looking
UFC, Luke, it's like the UFC. How many times have we said,
Dude.
if the UFC didn't have a time limit, how many fights would the Diaz's win?
You gotta get
Everyone.
off Gordon Ryan's dick, dude. Everybody's on his dick. You're on his dick enough. Like, you don't.
I'm
need to
not
defend
on
it
Gordon
here.
Ryan's dick. I'm just
Give
saying.
Rod a break.
I'm just saying. Kevin Holland couldn't finish a round with a broken hand when his opponent had a broken hand as well. All I'm saying is, if Gordon Ryan breaks his ankle and then he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not letting this dude beat me, and then beats him. You can't take that win away from him.
Did you watch his press conference? Because
Yes.
like my problem was the way that he talked about it. He used little passive aggressive language, talking about how Nicky was having a stall heavy style, talking about how he was lotioned, talking about how the time limit had expired. These are all bullshit. All right, I'm sick of the excuses. I didn't like it. I don't like.
But how many times have we wanted a fighter to sit there and just?
And then he's
okay. I know how much time's on the clock.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna let you just keep choking and waste your arms out, and then I'm gonna come for you because you think you gotta finish. And I'm looking at the clock.
And then they were like, "What would it take for you to join UFC?" And he's like, "Well, if one of my teammates like starts to really dominate and take my position in jiu-jitsu, then maybe I'll consider it." It's like, say what the fuck everybody's thinking. It has nothing to do with anything except 5 little letters. I'll let you guys figure it out yourself. All right, moving forward.
No, come on.
What else?
I'm confused.
So we got
MONEY.
one more thing to address. So what do we got? We got to talk about. So we hit Drew Dober, we hit everybody. I think that's pretty much it. The Giants won last night in Sunday Night Football. Who do you got tonight? The Packers take on the
Rams.
And personally, I called the Giants last night. I called my buddy. He's a Giants fan. He's in the car. He's on his way back from Vermont from a snowboarding trip. I hit him up. I go, yo, Giants going to win tonight? I think they are. He goes, no, I don't think they are. They suck this year, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, really? I like the odds on them. I hate the Commanders. Commanders suck. They're going to shit the bed. Fuck the Commanders. Fuck Carson Wentz, even though he's not playing. I'm like, he's a crumb bum. He's a pull-out merchant. And then I was going to bet the Giants, but he talked me out of it. So I go, all right, well, Saquon Barkley's going to score a touchdown, though. So I bet Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown. That hits, that wins. I'm thinking about rolling that profit. I already cashed out, what I put in. So I think I'm going to roll that profit right onto the Rams. And FanDuel is offering me a no risk bet. So anything I bet live, I end up getting a free bet in that amount, up to $100. So my profit from last night was 100. What if I put that 100 on the Rams at plus 290 live and get them in a risk-free bet back,
The Rams are already 7-point dogs, so you could probably get them at like plus 235 at this point. Plus 295.
Plus 290. And if I wait till the game starts and the Packers get the ball first and score, I'll get them at even better odds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
Aaron Rodgers sucks.
Did you see, Luke? Did you see last week when the Raiders played the Rams, and the Raiders kicked a great punt, pinned him to the 2-yard line, and the Gunners were hitting the gritty? Did you see that?
No.
So the Raiders kicked the ball, pinned him on the 2-yard line with 58 seconds left in the game. Baker Mayfield comes out. Oklahoma, baby. Oklahoma represent. Oklahoma, put your fucking hands in the air. Baker Mayfield comes out there, former Heisman winner. Gets them all the way down the field, wins the game. I know you love the Raiders. Me and my girlfriend talk about it literally all the time. I love the Titans. The way you love the Raiders, I love the Titans. Like, Titans are my out-of-market team that I always root for. I think they're way better than they are. and they played the other out-of-market team that I also root for that I think is way better than they are, the Chargers. The Chargers and the Titans are two teams that I'm like, no, these guys, they're way better than their records show, and then every time they just shit the bed. My girl was like, which one should I bet on, the Titans or this one? I'm like, I don't know. They're amazing teams. Take the over.
Yeah. Well, we're in that
Under all day.
we're in that meaty part of the NFL where you have good ass teams like, perfect example, the Chiefs, another
Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the whole entire NFL.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about there, because they covered yesterday. So what I'm saying is you have the Chiefs getting taken to overtime. You have the Cowboys getting taken to overtime. You have the Jets keeping it close against the Lions. I'm not sure what the spread was there, but I'm just trying to say that you have a lot of situations where some teams are in must wins, some teams are in doesn't matter for us anyway. You have other situations where teams don't need to win at all, and like as a result, like.
But then you got one guy. Then you got one guy who has a bonus on the line if he gets one more sack, and he gets an extra $1 million. And like you got to pay attention to that shit because
exactly. So I just feel like taking really good teams against their spread, basically being like, yeah, the Chiefs aren't going to cover against the fucking, because they were like plus 14 points, or like minus 14 points. So it's like they ended up going to overtime.
The Birds covered?
What?
The Birds covered?
I think they did. Yeah, they were like +8 or -8.
It was a pretty close game, dude. I mean, that kid Justin Fields on the Bears is going to be a serious problem. Like, he broke off a 65-yard run. They called him out of bounds on some bullshit. I thought he had it in. If he had that in, my same game parlay hits 100%, like right then and there. But they call him out of bounds, and you know.
Sorry, someone's trying to get in my door. Just making sure it wasn't a burglar. All right.
No,
well,
we had one of those last week. But Luke, did you see the Raiders versus the Patriots last play of the game?
Yeah, I think I did.
They were tied. And they started lateraling it back.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And then they threw it to the defender, and he stiff-armed Mac Jones. And Luke, you know what makes it even more beautiful? It was a former Patriot who caught the ball and stiff-armed Mac Jones and ran right into the end zone to end the game. It was beautiful. Chandler Jones, John Jones' brother, your fucking guy right then and there.
That's amazing, dude. John Jones, shout out to John, shout out to Chandler.
And Arthur's the other one.
Yeah, Ravens and Patriots. So, dude, that's awesome. I saw that. I also saw the Cowboys absolutely blow it. I called it. My friend was sitting there with me at the bar.
Shout out to Kieran. Shout out to our boy Kieran. We them boys. Boys.
My friend was sitting here and goes, who do you think's going to win this game? I go, I mean, the Cowboys were favorites going into it. I had the Jaguars, though, because I think they're choke artists. And if they almost lost against the fucking Titans, they're probably going to lose against the Jaguars. And then as I say that,
not even the Titans, the Texans.
Or the Texans.
Yeah.
I always mix them up. I'm like dyslexic with those two teams. I call them.
Yeah. They're very confusing.
The double T's, it confuses me, and I also don't care about either of them. So, all right. So moving on, I got to get going soon. Let's go watch the game and make that live bet with some value. Let's go through our full picks. I'm going to take everybody through mine top to bottom. These are quick picks. We're going to come back with Dan. We're going to give you our revised picks, see what shakes out as far as interruptions go. But please, guys, for the love of God, go to the Patreon, sign up for the full year. Let us know you're in it to win it for the full year. Patreon.com/PurplePursuit. That's how we give you our open bet sheets. That's how we give you the bonus episode that includes an in-depth breakdown of the prelims picks, all the trophy certified picks, all the open bets, live sheets, everything you need to bet alongside us, to win with us, to communicate with us. You can DM us directly. Subscribe, get the full year membership. We'll see you in there. And join the Discord where we chat every week. We have a whole bunch of people in there. Our boy Reigns is out here winning, killing it. Shout out to him again. He had a perfect parlay 2 weeks ago, and he's even doing better now with his profits, rolling them through, playing to win. Anyway, guys, yeah, that's about it. Let's take everybody through our full picks. You're rolling with me. I'm taking Imavov. Confidence level is super high with Imavov. I'm going to keep track of those picks here on this hand, right? Imavov, Rakhmonov, Kopylov, Ige, Nascimento, Vieira, Argueta, Rebecki, Nurmagomedov, Ribeiro, Johnson, and Basharat. Johnson, I'm going to take off and put Basharat on there. Those are my 5 most confident right now. Basharat, Kopylov. I'm going to take Kopylov off too. I'm going to keep it to 4. Mount Rushmore of most confident picks. Imavov, Rakhmonov, Nurmagomedov, and Basharat. Boom. 4 of them have OVs at the end of their name, guys. Imavov, Rakhmonov, Nurmagomedov. Keep it fucking simple. The triple P, OV, parlay. Put your fucking house on it responsibly. These are just jokes, and everything I say is always a joke. And I'm never serious about anything, nor is Alex. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, and definitely don't gamble. Alex, take everybody through the picks. 2 hours. 2 hours of content for you guys over the holidays. Who should feel lonely on Christmas? Get yourself some Chinese food. Go see a movie and watch this episode and just say, hey, at least I got my health. At least I'm alive. At least somebody out there loves me, and his name is Lukey CK and Alex the Euro Under King. We'll kiss you. We'll hug you. We love you, and we hope you have some warmth this Christmas. You know, call that person that you haven't talked to in a while. Forgive that loved one that did you wrong responsibly, and make sure that you just really appreciate your health, because at the end of the day, I saw a video of a guy who was rock climbing. He got trapped, and I was like, if you were trapped under a rock, you would do anything in the world.
127 hours, right? James Franco.
It wasn't like that. It was more claustrophobic than that. But I was like, if you were trapped under a rock, you would do anything in the world to get free, to get a message out, to say where you were, to get somebody to rescue you. And you're not trapped under a rock. At the end of the day, you can move all around, and you have your health, and that's all that matters. Even if you're all alone, you can build a network. You can build friends. You have us. Join the Patreon. DM me, and I'll give you what you need. Okay.
Luke, do I look like more of a?
I can never give you what you need, but I meant feet pictures if you want them. Okay, Alex.
Do I look more of like a Tucker or like a Don Jr.? What do I look like right now?
You know, now that you say Don Jr., it's more like the other Trump, Eric Trump. You're more like Eric Trump right now.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. My picks, top to bottom: Nazardine Imavov, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and these are the hand that we're doing our favorite picks on, I guess. Punalele Soriano, Damon Jackson, Alan Nascimento, Ketlin Vieira. Oh shit. Isaac Bulgarian, Mateus Rebecki. Umar Nurmagomedov, Claudio Ribeiro, Charles Johnson, Javid Basharat. And I have 7 very confident picks in this one. Javid is probably the number one. Javid is my guy. I've been rooting for him from day one. Shout out Afghanistan. Shout out all that. And inshallah, he goes out there and he wins this fight. But those are my 7 top picks. Luke, how many fights are on this card?
Well, glad you asked, because there's, as of right now, 12 fights on the card. I expect more to get added. 12 fights on the card as of right now. The 2 fights where guys are coming in on short notice are going to be the Jimmy Flick fight. Flick was originally scheduled to fight Jeff Molina, who, as we know, is one of James Krause's prodigies. Who knows what's going on there? Probably bad headspace. And interestingly enough, David Onama was originally scheduled to fight Jarno Aarons, and Aarons pulled out with a shoulder injury. So there's 2 Glory MMA and Fitness guys that were supposed to fight and couldn't for whatever reason. And we know that a couple remain on the card. A couple of Glory guys remain on the card in the form of Damon Jackson and also
Luke, should I take one of these off?
What do you mean?
I have 7 very confident picks.
I mean, I didn't see who you picked for them, but I mean, that's
here.
fine.
I'll give them to you again. Nazardine, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Alan Nascimento, Ketlin Vieira, Mateus Rebecki, Umar Nurmagomedov, and then Javid Basharat.
Yeah, I mean, I like the ones I agree with you on, and the other ones I left off for a reason. I don't want to put a women's fight on there, especially one as close as Vieira versus Pennington. I like Johnson. I went with 4 confident ones just because you just still haven't seen a ton out of him. I can't really put him in the same category. I didn't put Johnson on. I didn't put Johnson in this. To be honest, really, it's the 3 with the OVs at the end of their name that I'm most confident in. It's the undefeated Nurmagomedov.
For you guys, I will take away Ketlin Vieira and Alan Nascimento, and I'll just give you 5: Imavov, Rakhmonov, Rebecki,
I like Rebecki
Nurmagomedov,
a lot too. I
and
think
then Basharat.
yeah, I like Rebecki a lot too.
That's a solid 5, dude. I will give you all 5 of those. That's probably going to be my whale play. $50 on this 5-fight parlay, unless it isn't paying much, and I'll probably add one of the other guys. But that's the 5-pick parlay that I give out on the Patreon every week. These fights are going to get changed though, so I'm not even worried about it. So
the
I give
only
it to you
things
for
you
free.
can't like about Mateus Rebecki are he's going to be sacrificing 8 inches of reach and 4 inches of height against Moraes, and he also is going to be making his debut. So the reach, the height, the debut factor alone, it puts him in like a 30% category of win. He's also 7 years younger, which puts him in about 30% category of people who lose. And then so it kind of evens that out. And then also he's coming off wins and is almost undefeated compared to his fighter who is coming off of back-to-back finish losses, which means his next fight is likely to be the very same. So I like Rebecki as maybe like, another one that Alex mentioned is like a confident one. But I think basically like Rebecki. All right, so here's who me and Alex agree on. Imavov, Rakhmonov, Nascimento, Vieira, Rebecki, Nurmagomedov, Ribeiro, Johnson, Basharat. So out of the 12 fights, there's only 3 we disagree on. And
which ones are they?
Isaac. I picked Kopylov, you picked Soriano, I picked Ige, you picked Jackson, I picked Argueta, you picked Bulgarian. But all of those fights I am not passionate about. You know what I mean? The ones I'm passionate about are Imavov, Rakhmonov, and Nurmagomedov. Those are the 3 I'm passionate about. If you want me to give you another 3, I'll say Basharat, Johnson, and Rebecki. If you want me to give you another 3, I'll say Ribeiro, Nascimento.
And this is inner circle knowledge. This is all inner circle knowledge for free because we are one man down. We are one man down 4 weeks in advance, and we're giving you guys the master plan right here and now. And if take it, do as you will, but this is not financial advice. This is not gambling advice. This is not life advice.
Yep, but I do want you to all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will be here
Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa as well.
We'll check in with you every Monday like usual. We'll find something to talk about, and we'll put a show on for you guys, and we'll revise the card as it comes to us. Thank you. We're on top of this. We love you. Our year is not over. Year 3 is still full steam ahead until May. Our season goes from May to May. That's when we started the show. We started it in May. Every year begins in May for us. So we are not ending it. We are not going anywhere. The year is not over. I am still doing ketosis. I did the show with a headache, the bright lights in my eyes. I got to go watch Monday Night Football. Let's go Rams.
And I'm coming off the flu. This is my flu game.
Yeah, we're both getting it together, keeping it together. But enjoy your new year. DM us, comment. Please like the video, comment on the video, and let us know how you're doing, what your plans are. And, these comments make our days. So we will check in with you. Thank you very much.
And let me know how you think I look this week. Do I look good? Do I look bad? Let me know. I will adjust my appearance based on the subscribers' comments.
And let us know your favorite moment watching the show from 2022. That would also be good too.
And Luke, could we do a little house right here before we sign off?
Sure.
What are we doing next week? Are we doing the best of the year? Are we doing a little bit of
We'll check in with Dan. We'll get his
fighter
thoughts.
awards.
We'll get Dan's early thoughts. We'll do some awards. We'll do some honorable mentions. Really, the floor is yours. I mean, I don't.
Can I host the show for the awards?
Sure thing.
Could you give me just give me the winners, all the things. We'll vote on them between the 3 of us. It can't possibly go wrong. Fight of the year, knockout of the year, submission of the year, things like that. Fighter of the year, male, woman. We'll do all those. Just give me the awards we're going for. I'll make all the jokes. Don't worry about it. I'll host the show. I'll be the Ellen DeGeneres. I am wearing sneakers right now, and I am down to dance.
Hey, listen. I love that you're gonna do it all. That works for me, and let's go watch some football. I mean, we'll do the show. Like I said, we'll come back. We have 3 weeks, so we'll get it going, guys. We'll be here, and just help us.
Help us help you.
All right. We love you, everybody. Merry Christmas and a happy New Year.
Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa. Rosh
Hashanah. All of them. I don't know what the other holidays are. Rosh Hashanah. I don't know.
Rosh Hashanah.
When is Rosh Hashanah then, Alex? When is it? Do you fucking know?
I think it's like over the summer, like a couple months after Passover. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
I have a hard time ending this episode.
In this episode, dude. I don't